The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings NFL Free Agency Recap. We're only technically 4 hours into day one, but we need to get the takes on the book before we do anything. So, reminder to everyone out there, if you haven't done it yet and you're watching this before March Madness starts, there's the Mayo Madness free bracket. You can find the link in the description right now. For every person that signs up, $1 will be donated to the Fantasy Cares organization. So it's a charity that buys gifts for kids. It takes you like 20 seconds to sign up for an account. I don't care if you fill out the bracket or not. That's irrelevant to me. I mean, you probably want to do it because there is $2,500 to first prize. There's 3 spots in the Scott Fishbowl up for grabs, top 5 pays. But the important part is that $1 for every sign up is going to charity. So please take the 20 seconds out of your day. Go do that. Fantasy Cares is a tremendous charity. So we're glad to be partnering with them for that. Smash the like while you're here as well, and sub to Mayo Media Network. Leave me your favorite free agent signing down in the description and down in the comment section. Please give me what you think the Jets record is going to be for the upcoming season. Jeffrey, what do you think that the Jets record is going to be for the upcoming season?
I'm keeping it positive. All good things coming for the Jets. I don't want to insult anybody here, but we'll just say 10-7 playoff spot. Maybe I'm playing it safe, but 10-7 going to the playoffs. I think their ceiling's higher than 10-7, to be honest. But yeah, 10-7.
Okay, so 10-7 for Geoff. I guess that we need a confirmation on what the record is going to be from one Mr. Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
That's not my name. Is this a $25 Discord that you have to pay to watch? Is that how this is working?
I don't get it.
That's something that someone had tweeted. One of the Jets players had tweeted, and I was asked why this was going on. Well, why was someone doing Discord? And why was Aaron Rodgers over on McAfee doing stuff? And I was like, I don't care, man. Whatever it takes.
Man, that's quite the anecdote.
I don't really have much of an anecdote. I wasn't trying to make it.
When I logged on, Pat, he was just like giggling, and you weren't even here. So either when you left before we started.
Well, I was actually continuing to laugh about Juju Smith-Schuster being signed by the Patriots for $11 million. I have seen few wastes of cash more extravagant in this off season than that. Until, and then, it breaks my heart to say it for Jeffrey, but once Eckler leaves, that Kellen Moore is going to want his old RB back. And so that he's coming to the Chargers.
You think the Chargers would replace Eckler with Ezekiel Elliott?
Yes, I do.
That's really weird. You're throwing stones at the Patriots. You're throwing stones at me. This
I don't want to
throw
throw
stones. Happy moment.
I
Why can't you just enjoy? You didn't even give a record.
I've decided to embody the spirit of my quarterback, which is to simply express various grievances that I have against people who have wronged me.
I didn't wrong you.
No,
I'm supporting you.
No, you're right.
I hope this works out great.
I believe I said I don't want it to happen for you. I don't want you to go after Dalton Schultz for a boatload of cash, and I don't want you to go after Zeke. I'm cheering against
me.
You're right.
It's about you. It's about you. It's your time. The Chargers are an irrelevant factor, especially with the Jets coming into the AFC. Jalen Ramsey going to Miami. This is a lot of fun.
It is. Look, the Jets are in a great spot right now. What can I say? Things could blow up very quickly. I've been trying to tell people the last day or two, I can absolutely see how this completely doesn't work, and it becomes a disaster in terms of how the media react and how the team reacts, and that there's, a Jets DNA that leads to bad things. And, I can see how this doesn't work, but this is the best chance the Jets have had to win a Super Bowl in a long time. They're 14-1 to win the Super Bowl right now, 8-1 to win the conference. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's roll. This is a darn good team.
You were offended by me saying 14-3 is a coming.
I was offended when you said 10-7 is a coming.
So let's go. What's the
Well,
record?
I mean, like, I need to see the schedule and see
Well,
where the
no,
fuck happened. Who was trying to
hold
screw
you
it.
on.
can't be
a second.
offended at 14-3 and then tell
I
me
don't
you need
because
to
I
see
don't
the schedule.
see looking at just their opponents. I don't see 3 losses on the schedule. Looking at their opponents, but it's very possible that the way the league stacks back to backs or something, or tries to jam us into so many primetime games that we don't have enough rest or something, that this happens. I think that's definitely possible. But look, I don't see a single loss on the schedule.
So you're going to get your 5-6 primetime games, and then your grievance is going to be how much the league hates you when you spot out all the spots that it screws you up in. Right?
Not if they're fair.
I'm happy for you. I think it's great for the Jets.
I'm happy.
I think it's fun. Yeah, I think this is it. It's weird how the whole thing evolved and is still evolving.
I loved that
in
that
many
interview
ways.
today with McAfee. I loved it. That was great. He started at the beginning to express the various ways the Packers had justifiably wronged him. He was right. He's not done anything wrong in this. All he's done is play good football and play to MVP levels. And last year took that team, which had very little talent outside of Alan Lazard, all the way to the cusp of the playoffs with no talent at all. And all the Packers did was, the people there don't respect him in the front office. He is the longest tenured Packer of all time, as he said today, and he's earned the right to have a proper and appropriate send-off. And so the Packers should not be holding this hostage long, looking for massive amounts back, in part because they have zero leverage, and in part because it wouldn't be the right thing to do. Like, Rodgers just decided he's leaving. He's decided who he's going to. They're going to get all that money off their cap. So it was great to see him go through the discussion of who he does talk to, who he doesn't talk to, what that dark period did for him, where he was 90% prepared to retire, and I guess this rejuvenated him. And so, if that's the case,
doesn't that worry you a little?
If that's the case, no, God bless those dark rooms or whatever. If it takes Rodgers from 90% likely to retire to take me to a Super Bowl championship, like they're what a great invention. Yeah, like I'm feeling really upbeat. I was feeling nervous 24 hours ago when, after the news that Wingo had made, a lot of people shot back and said, this is not confirmed, this is not reported. Wingo knew what he was talking about, obviously, that essentially things are a done deal. It's just some stuff on the margins that needs to get hammered out. There's every reason to be excited, and the odds boards reflect that so-called great teams like Miami are well behind the Jets on all the odds boards. As is San Diego, by the way. Just want to note that you're all behind the Jets.
Hold on. First of all, San Diego doesn't have a team. 2, no one is saying that Miami is great besides you and maybe your dad.
I had to spend my grandmother's birthday dinner listening to him go on about how great the Ramsey signing was and how that really helps the team.
It does.
And well, I mean, I get, it doesn't hurt the team. I'll give you that. It doesn't hurt the team. But like, a lot's being made of that signing as if it's some great salvation.
You just pointed to how good Alan Lazard was.
He was pretty good.
Jalen Ramsey under Vic Fangio is going to be
Vic Fangio is the second coming of Christ, apparently. This is the way people talk about him.
No, but he's good.
He was so good that he couldn't hold his job in Denver and got relieved of his duties there.
They got a good line. I thought they got.
Whoa. Hold on. Just point blank stop on this just for a second, because we went through this the last time that we spoke. Geoff wasn't here. Garion was stepping in his spot. And you made the claim for another Denver head coach who was fucking terrible and got fired from his job. But now that he's back being an offensive coordinator, all of a sudden, Nate Can't Hackett is going to be a great OC again. Why?
Well,
can't
from
Nate,
people who actually know what they're
again?
talking about, people who actually know what they're talking about, who've actually worked with Nate Hackett. I heard today what a fantastic coach Nate Hackett was, and that him
from
being
Aaron
there,
Rodgers.
Yes, and that Aaron said one of the reasons he chose to go to the Jets is because they're his favorite coach in the league as their OC. So you can smile at that all you want, but someone who knows a heck of a lot more about football than you or I
think they're both. I'm allowed to think that's a good signing for the Jets, and I'm allowed to think that Vic Fangio is a great addition for the Dolphins.
No, I actually think Fangio will be fine, but he's not going to be the greatest defensive coordinator.
For them, it's a big upgrade. And then to bring in a player like Ramsey, and they got David Long from the Titans. Yeah. Listen, if I had to pick who's going to be better, the Jets or the Dolphins today, I'm going to pick the Jets because much as I don't want to say love, but I don't think Tua's going to be healthy after 17 games.
No,
and that's a total
and
shame.
It would be unfair
that
to
hurt.
expect him to be.
So I think the Jets are better, but for you to just poo-poo what the Dolphins are doing,
I like the Mike White signing. Mike White is a really good quarterback. I like that with Mike White signing. That made a lot of sense. Mike White knows how to win football games. I think the Ramsey signing was,
how many football games has Mike White actually won?
A handful. I don't know the exact number.
Isn't it one?
No, he won a game last year. He won at least one game the year before when he ripped apart the Bengals. So that's at least two.
I'm certain they're still calling Brady. They'll try at least 2 more times.
Maybe. But, in some ways, I don't want to talk about the Dolphins. I want to talk about the Jets and how good the Jets are.
You were the one who brought up the Dolphins firing shots at Fanny Pack Fangio.
Well, not really. I was take shots at Ramsey. It's like Ramsey is an over-the-hill cornerback who used to be elite, who's now good. And I guess that helps. Sure, you need it when you got AR.
Can't that same logic be applied to Aaron Rodgers?
Did Aaron Rodgers did Ramsey come off back-to-back NFL MVPs and play well last year? The way that Ramsey, no, I actually don't think it's comparable at all. It's apples to oranges. Not in the same stratosphere. I'm actually kind of insulted that you'd even make the comparison.
Insulted now? I see that you're on a first name with Aaron these days. Yeah, although he's not even officially on the Jets yet.
He's as officially on the Jets as he's going to be for a while. Like, this is going to take some time. Neither side is in a rush to get this actually signed. So whatever. It's as far as I'm concerned, and as far as anybody's concerned, like, he's on the Jets.
Both sides are really desperate. Like the Packers, it's clear their intentions. They don't want him back. They want to move on. They don't want the burden of that contract. And the Jets and their owner, from the moment the season ended, he reeked of desperation.
Oh, they deserve each other. They deserve each other. Neither can take advantage of the other.
I think, unfortunately, the reports of what the compensation probably will be didn't go over well in Green Bay over the last week or so, Tim. And that has caused them maybe to put their feet and dig in and try to take advantage of the Jets' desperation.
And then Rodgers,
and I would argue, hold on.
Today.
I would argue, as much as hearing what you heard today was good for your soul and your heart, I would argue Aaron now has kind of given the Packers some leverage because the Jets are at a fever pitch, their fan base, for this thing to just be done and to happen.
I don't agree. Jets fans, as far as they're concerned, think it is done now.
Well, but it's not done.
Yeah, but it's done for all intents and purposes.
No, but you might have cost yourself a little edge in the negotiation.
I honestly think the negotiations are basically done, which is why people are really talking about this. That there's just stuff on the margins that needs to get tidied up about how the restructured contract will look, stuff like that. I'm actually not too concerned about.
Or maybe what happens if Rodgers plays for more than a year?
Sure, stuff like that, right? Well, that's fine. Let them talk that out.
Because keep that smile on your face, Tim. I think there's 3 freaking really good years left in that guy.
I think there's 2 anyway. We'll see. I mean, when Favre left the Packers, he had 2 really good years in them. He had the year with the Jets where he was played well and got hurt, and then the 1 year in Minnesota where he was excellent, and then the next year in Minnesota he fell apart. So, I think he's probably got 2 good years in him if he wants to play. I'm excited. This team is really good. It's got a lot of top tier talent, and there's every reason to be excited.
Have you bet the Jets to win the Super Bowl? Or are you just telling other people to spend their money 11? Yes. You bet it.
Oh yeah, with friends already. I have multiple bets flying around. Here's the thing that's important to understand: that the Jets aren't guaranteed to win anything, but I'll take Aaron Rodgers and make him no worse than a coin flip against anybody in any game when he's playing his best. So
you're gonna wake up every Sunday there'll be no matchup that scares you, really.
No,
as a
no
fan,
one scares me.
Yeah.
No. There's quarterbacks are every bit as good or even could be better on their best day. But if Rodgers is playing really well, he's as good as anybody. And so that makes me feel very hopeful and optimistic.
It's a good Sunday morning foxhole.
Yeah.
Can you give me a ranking of all of the quarterbacks who are better than Aaron Rodgers in the AFC on their best day, please?
Mahomes.
Okay.
Maybe Burrow.
Maybe Burrow.
Yeah, maybe Burrow. That's the list. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's won 2 of the last 3 MVPs.
You're the same
played
guy
pretty
who
well
said that
last year.
Kirk Cousins was better than he was when he
was
was
wrong.
winning an MVP.
Yeah, before he won 2 MVPs ago. I said I was wrong. I'm allowed to be wrong.
Wonder why you're saying you're wrong now. Just like
Because
this love for Alan Lazard all of a sudden.
I always liked Alan
Are you
Lazard.
going to tell
to
us
some
that
degree.
Mercedes Lewis is a top 5 tight end?
No, I think he's a good blocker. You could do worse. You need someone to help in pass protection. I don't care if he wants Mercedes Lewis, then let him have him. Who cares? Like, that's peanuts. Mr. Johnson has a lot of money, and it's not like this roster, which scored 15 points in the last 3 games combined of the NFL season, has a ton of pieces on the offensive line and tight end core that it couldn't possibly part with. So if you're telling me he wants him, then let him have him. Who cares?
He's not going to be able to avoid, when an assembled media gets together, being asked about now being paid all this money by the heir to the big pharma, right? Like, McAfee's not going to bring that up, but there's no way an assembled media will allow that to pass.
I don't think initially the New York media will want to rock the boat. If there are some struggles, I think that those questions get asked when there's sniping. And,
no, he'll have to address that. He'll have to address it. It'd be like Rory going to live.
Like I think Rodgers
it's
is
an elephant
enough to bat that away.
I don't care.
Fastball.
I'm pro Rodgers.
Slow ball.
I'm pro Rodgers. I'm pro the Jets. That doesn't bother me. But the back and forth of that between him and at a press conference will entertain me.
Yeah, but Aaron's sharp though, right? He would turn around and say, "Well, who do you make your money from? How do you make your money? What do you do? What does your owner do? You know, I'm not over here judging you. Like that, it's a great answer. Turn that right around. Go on offense. Don't let these people push you around. One of the great things I like about Rodgers is that he speaks his mind, and that he cuts through the BS. Like there's something. I mean, this is what great Jets quarterbacks in the past, like Joe Namath, have done. And he said that, or they said that he can have Joe's number if he wants it. And he was very gracious today, wouldn't answer that question. But the idea of somebody once again wearing number 12 in green and white in New York, where we have Aaron Rodgers being the Jets quarterback, puts them as the number 1 sports team in New York talk-wise. It takes them even above the New York Yankees, definitely above the Giants.
No, it doesn't.
100%.
If the
they
Knicks
become the biggest
if the Knicks
spectacle.
make the playoffs, the Knicks are a bigger story.
For the 2 weeks the 3 weeks the Knicks are in the playoffs. But the biggest media story in New York sports by far is Aaron Rodgers, and he will feed them, and he will feed off that. So all systems go. Like the Jets are now the talk of the league and will be with Rodgers for good or for ill. This is everything. I'm very excited. This might not work out. This could blow up the way Geoff thought the 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers would blow up. It could happen, but it could go the other way. They could win.
You expect them to win.
They can't
Is
do
he
any,
all in?
They can't
like
do
if
any
he's all
worse.
in, then you could have your Buccaneer ending. And I assume he's not naive enough to think he can show up on July 28th.
No, I don't think so either. But he doesn't need to be there in March and April for OTAs either. In fact,
but Brady got the boys together on a high school field
that's fine.
After he was
Brady didn't know those guys.
Board,
we're going to bring on board a lot of Aaron's guys.
Well, is Randall Cobb coming over as a part of this deal?
I don't know, but sure, he'd be cheap. You get to sign him for the league veteran minimum. Bring him on board. If he demands Odell Beckham, bring him on board.
If I'm Woody, I'd make a deal. I'd say if you get the gang together next month at a high school in Malibu, you can have the last guy in the receiver room, you can have the last guy in the tight end room, and you can have an O-line of your choosing. You can't give him a running back because your last running back has to be.
They don't need a running back. They have a running back.
No, but your last guy on the depth chart at running back needs to play special teams.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Just be like an undrafted or 6th round pick. There's no friendship with that roster spot.
No, that's right. Let Rodgers have what he wants. Like, who cares? This team offensively was extremely challenged last season. And despite that, in part because of injuries, but they still had the offensive rookie of the year. But despite that, they won 7 games and they had a chance to make the playoffs well into December. You add Rodgers to the mix, 7 wins should go. Last year's team goes from 7 wins to 13 or 14 wins. So, I'm super excited. I think they'll be favored in every single game they play this year. That isn't at Orchard Park, man, isn't at Arrowhead. I think they'd be favored in every single game, other than maybe those two.
So how are you going to do the Sunday night show week 1 when you're playing?
I will be bouncing.
Listen, I said many times, but this show is going to be is always at its best when one of us thinks we're going to the Super Bowl.
Well, think it. I mean, the books are pretty clear. The Jets are going to the Super Bowl, short of something disastrous.
I mean, they're
or
not
injuries.
even. Hold on a second. They're not even the favorites in their own division.
I'll take our chances. Well, first, Tampa won that Super Bowl without even winning their division. You don't need to win your division to win the Super Bowl. It'd be nice to have a home game, but like as we saw last year, what does it matter if the game's in Orchard Park if that team doesn't bother to show up to a playoff game? I'll play the Bills anywhere. A soft pushover team like that with a worse quarterback and a worse receiver, I'll take them anywhere. Bring them on board. Do your best.
What if it's Jets Dolphins week 1 and Tua just puts them in the ground? How much are you going to cry?
Well, I'm not going to cry. It's the
really
first game
you've
of the
cried
year.
each of the last 2 years in week 1.
Well, if it's Jets Dolphins on Sunday Night Football, no one will see it happen. Because I won't be watching the game with people. I'll be home by that point, so I won't cry.
Maybe we'll have to do a live watch along.
Go ahead, do a live watch along. I'm not scared. I don't think they would put Miami on the first Sunday night game because they haven't earned that. They're not nearly as interesting of a team. Sure, I mean, whatever.
No, I think they're a really interesting team.
Oh yeah, who wants to watch Tyreek Hill do nothing for 3 hours? While
again, I'm not saying
down by Sauce.
You could debate how good or bad they are.
Okay.
Like you could have that debate, but I mean, in terms of intrigue, they remain
sure
a very intriguing team. But again, Aaron's here now. It almost seems like what could happen or what has happened in your division is what happened in the West last year that got a lot of hype that didn't get lived up to between Russ coming in and Devontae and, the Chargers feeling like they were ready to take a leap. And welcome to I'm cheering for anyone to beat Kansas City, to be honest.
And I think Cincinnati went in there and beat them, and they just about beat them this year. Like the Chiefs aren't unbeatable. Like
no, they're not.
Awesome,
but
they're
in
not
my
unbeatable.
opinion,
they didn't play us last year. You think Kelsey's going to do anything against Sauce? Good luck. Put Sauce on anybody, shuts him down.
Hold on. You think that Sauce is going to go one-on-one with Travis Kelce?
Why not? He's a wide receiver, and Sauce is a better player. Put him on. But Sauce doesn't get beat. Sauce is better than your best. Give it to him. Go try to beat him. Go ahead and try. Lose the game that way.
I just say all that because, in my opinion, last year's Chiefs was the worst Chiefs team in the last 5 years, and they still went to the Super Bowl.
A lot of things had to bounce right that way for them, but you're right. They did win, and then full kudos to them.
And I don't even say being the worst Chiefs team in the last 5 years as an insult.
I'm not as there's a lot of great teams in the AFC. It's not just the Chiefs you need to be worried about. You need to be equally worried about all kinds of teams. I'm more worried about Cincinnati than I am the Chiefs, actually. Cincinnati's probably a better team top to bottom. And they've basically, over the last 2 years, split with each other.
They lost both their safeties. There's a lot of...
I mean, every team's going to lose stuff. I mean, it's about how you rebound. But, I like our chances. We're in every one of those games. We're a coin flip at worst in every one of those games when we're healthy, no matter where it is. So, bring it on. The Chargers have chosen to not lose anybody yet, but they've also got about 140 million committed to 4 players. Yeah, when did you become the New Orleans Saints? That's my question.
Listen, this is the overall point. Anyone on the market, if you're out there, your team thinks you're like your team doesn't want you because there's so much money. Teams can create money. They move around money. Any free agent that's young, they must be really flawed.
How does it feel to be in a division now where the other 3 teams have quarterbacks who have each like 6-7 playoff wins apiece, and your quarterback doesn't have any?
Draft them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, which order would Herbert's not second in 100% of rankings? Like, what are you talking about?
Of course he is, but I'm just saying, like Russ and
I like
Garoppolo,
Jimmy G.
I actually like the Jimmy G signing.
I think that's a good signing.
That's a smart signing, and they can then take a quarterback at 6 or whatever as well. And if there's
they got outs. They got outs after every year.
It was a really smart signing for a team that could also make the playoffs. Who definitely has the talent to do so.
It's a smart signing because it gives them more flexibility, but let's not pretend like the Raiders are going to be better because they have Jimmy G than Derek Carr. They're like the same guy.
No, overall they can't be better because
Yeah.
To the naked eye, it just seems like it's an old Patriots assistant getting together former Patriot cronies. And now we're at the point where we've seen enough of a sample size to say, that ain't it, Chief. Like, that ain't it. There's a magic dust on this thing that involves Brady and Belichick, and the Patriot way just doesn't work elsewhere. I've seen 7 other assistants try it. Sorry, pal.
Tim, you were pretty salty coming on here, taking shots at Geoff, some of the other signings. Shouldn't you just be happy?
Happy about what? People have been making fun of and antagonizing and teasing me and my team for a long time.
Because they're terrible.
I'm on
But
top.
we both said we were happy for you. The people
I'm happy
here are
for
happy
you.
for you.
I'm happy for you too, Geoff. I think you have a good team.
Why?
But I'm king of the castle right now, and I'm taking full advantage of my position on top of the hill to basically look down my nose at anyone who basically, unless you're a Chiefs fan and maybe an Eagles fan, I get to look down my nose at you and tell you straight up, my team has got a better chance to make the Super Bowl than you.
I mean, that's not what the odds say.
The odds think the Jets have the 3rd best chance to make the Super Bowl in the AFC, right? Or is it
the 4th?
Yeah.
Chiefs,
In the
Bills,
AFC?
Bengals.
Yeah, Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. I don't agree with the Bills one. I definitely agree with the Bengals one. You have to agree with the Chiefs one, I suppose. But I think it's very close between all 3 of those teams. I think the Bills are a bit of a cut below, but I in part because they don't win big games. That's not in their DNA. Year after year after year, they blow big games. So
Bill's got a big move coming. They got a big move coming here. They can't.
I don't know.
They actually made a signing.
Whether it's Derrick Henry or something, they got something big coming, I think.
They made a signing today that I really liked, but we'll probably get to that in a second.
Oh, I like it too. That's what the Chargers need.
Hold on.
A speedy guy. I needed that guy. Sorry, I needed that guy or like him. Someone.
So did the Bills. So they went out and got him. But it's kind of hilarious that you say the Bills are soft, the Bills can't win a big game, and the Jets are amazing because they have such history of winning those big games.
They don't, but all things have been made new now. This is a brand new era. This is year 1 AR. The old years are BC, before Aaron, BA. Now we're with Aaron.
Would you draft a tight end at 13?
They're not going to have the 13th pick. That's going to be the Packers pick.
They will definitely have the 13th pick. I don't think anybody disputes that at this point. Even the people who are talking about competition, I haven't heard anybody in the last week or two think it's anything other than a second and then maybe another conditional second, depending on how the year goes.
With how really put into a corner the Packers are here, as much as the Jets reek of desperation, by all accounts, if they do have to surrender a 1st-round pick, I saw someone, almost describe that would be a fleecing today for the Packers.
Yeah, but the Jets aren't negotiating with anybody. No one else is coming up behind them to take Aaron Rodgers, so you don't have to give them a first. First off the table. I think it's going to be a second and a conditional second. It's hard to imagine a world in which it's any more than that.
Elijah Moore is going to be in that deal too.
Maybe he might be, and it will suck to lose Elijah Moore. But
maybe
if that's the cost of doing business, then that's the cost of doing business. It's not like the Packers don't deserve somebody back. The worst people in your fantasy football league are the people who try to trade for everything and offer nothing in return, who think that the only purpose of a trade is to make me better and you worse. Those are bad people to trade with long term because that's not the way the world works. Make trades with people where you can improve your team and they can improve their team too in a way that they see as a genuine improvement. So
Packers held on to him. Packers held on to him too long. They lost the Russ deal. They probably feel it like those guys who held on to their top shots.
They did wait a year too long, but they had to see what they had. I guess they played it out. It is what it is. They have the 13th pick, but they take a tight end. I don't know if there's any tight ends quite good enough to use the 13th pick.
Aren't there four first-round tight ends?
God.
Use the 13th overall pick.
Yeah, there is. That the one yours from Notre Dame, Kincaid from Utah.
13.
Listen,
No, I honestly,
I'm at 21. I'm at
rusher.
21, and I want one so bad.
I need a pass rusher. Maybe an offensive lineman again, but I want a pass rusher if I had my druthers.
The Chargers went from 40-1 to 7-1 to draft that running back that everyone likes.
The great thing is
Robinson?
I want
Yeah,
all
that-
these quarterbacks
that
to
one.
go. I mean, the 13th pick becomes like the 7th pick if all these quarterbacks go, right? Because we're never taking a quarterback. So let them all go, and we'll get one of the really, really good players sitting there. We've had bad experience drafting tight ends. I mean, I'm scarred by that. And like Kyle Pitts was the 4th overall pick. He clearly wasn't worth the pick that high. I hate to draft a tight end that high unless it's a sure thing. And I don't know that any of these people are.
I just don't want you to take my guy.
Okay, well, like you should have been worse than and had a better pick. And I don't know what else to tell you. You know?
Not really, but I get it. Hey, we're the team that gets the advantage of the Dolphins forfeiting a pick. We move up from
True.
We move up a pick.
It is great that the Dolphins don't have a pick. That does make me really happy. And I did look on the schedule, and we have the Chargers on the schedule. And that would be a great primetime game too at some point. That's like an ESPN game. Jets Chargers has Monday Night Football at some point written all over it.
Thursday night, maybe too.
Or that Black Friday game.
No, Pat, they wouldn't make you travel cross country for a Thursday unless you were coming off.
They did to us. They made us go all the way to Indianapolis for a Thursday night game a couple years ago.
All the way to Indianapolis?
Yeah, but I mean, if you were playing already on the East Coast, Geoff, you might just be able to stay there.
No, you don't play on the road before you play Thursday night. That's a league rule. Okay. Also, Pat, I don't know if you're aware of this. There are 4 teams that the league can mandatory force to do Hard Knocks based
Jets
on the
the
league rules. If you didn't make the playoffs the year before, if you don't have a rookie coach, the Jets fall into the category. I don't even remember who the other teams are. I don't think it matters. The league will 100% be forcing the Jets into Hard Knocks. So
I think that's right. But if Aaron doesn't want to participate, like I would support the Jets doing everything they can to keep him out of there.
No, they don't have a choice. I just told you.
The team will participate, but they may find ways to keep Aaron away from media that he doesn't feel is sympathetic or friendly to him. I don't want him to feel beset by anything.
I like that.
Hard Knocks isn't interviews.
I like that in your mind, you're a PR person for like a Latin American dictator. We keep them away from those people who ask too many questions. Let's get rid of them.
It's like my leader is going to the United Nations, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure that only friendly press speak to him. But no, look, Green Bay hasn't treated Aaron very well the last couple of years. That's for sure. And I think New York's going to treat him the way he deserves to be treated. Finally, he's going to get the respect that he deserves, and they haven't treated him very well. And you got that. I mean, he didn't spend 25 minutes at the start of the interview today with McAfee going through the history of the last 3 years with Green Bay if he didn't have significant grievances.
The problem is in Green Bay, 98% of the public or the media want to suck up to him and be his friend. In New York, it's the complete opposite. It's like 98% want to get him and 2% want to be his friend.
Again, I think that will only be the case if there are some struggles. Initially, I think there's going to be a lot of goodwill until there's a reason for there not to be goodwill. And then it's going to get ugly.
What sort of costume do you think he wears to opening a training camp?
I don't know.
Well, if it's based on anything like last year, he dressed as Nicolas Cage from Con Air. Maybe he'll dress as Nicolas Cage from National Treasure this time around. Or Face Off. He'll come with someone else's face on. I don't think it'll be John Travolta's. What if the Jets lose week 1 and the Giants win week 1? And people are like, man, Danny Dimes is better than Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think anybody's going to write that story, but I mean, I don't particularly like the Giants, but I think that they've done some smart things this offseason, including trading for Darren Waller.
Jets Giants for Sunday night.
Yeah, maybe.
Battle in New York?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's impossible. I still think
the first Monday night. That could be the Monday night.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no to that either. I really think they're going to put us on Sunday Night Football to start. We haven't been on Sunday Night Football in like 13 years or something. NBC is going to really want to have the Jets and going to want a good matchup. So,
and Tim, you're not going to get flexed because NBC or Fox will want to protect you because you're so good and you have Aaron Rodgers.
That's true.
But you're going to have you're locked in like 4 or 5, maybe even 6.
Yeah, I would expect the Jets will be maxed out in primetime solo games. I would expect us to play on Thanksgiving. I think or that Friday game. I think that they want as many eyeballs on this Jets team as possible. It's a lot of fun. Big team in the biggest market with the biggest named star, the face of the NFL in a lot of ways. Looking forward to it.
The Rodgers Mahomes
face of
game,
the NFL.
the Rodgers Mahomes game is probably going to be
The
like
CBS.
CBS's game of the year.
Oh, totally. That'll be like week 5. And that will be on CBS, and it'll get a Thanksgiving share.
Yeah. And Fox will literally just have an Arizona-Seattle game
Mm-hmm. That's
against it.
That'll
That's
be one of those days where there's 2 games on at 5 o'clock, and one of them will be Jets Chiefs.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to watch to see how the season plays out for you. I really am.
I am too.
Can't. I
haven't
think
had
it's better.
this.
I think it's better for this show if the Jets are amazing.
Pat, there's no bad answer here. If they're amazing, it's fantastic. He's been talking about the Super Bowl. If it goes horribly, the show is going to be fantastic. If they end up having a roller coaster, sort of like the Chargers did last year, at least for me, it felt like an insane roller coaster to still be in the playoffs where, you know, bad things happened eventually, it'll be fantastic. I don't even know a scenario when you build yourself to go to the Super Bowl in March. There's no like ending that isn't going to be great for the show, because if it does happen, that will be fun and fantastic. But anything other than that will be seen as a big disappointment, and Tim will be broken.
Anything short of a Super Bowl appearance will be an underperforming year. I expect to be in the Super Bowl. It's my year. It's my year. Literally, it's my year. I may only get this 1 year, and it might not happen again for another 15 years. But damn it all, it's my year. Get out of my way. And I am taking this basketball to the hoop, and it's mine.
Talk to Cam. He knows all the crusty off the beaten path like motels you could stay in Super Bowl week.
It's funny. I was thinking about this, Geoff. We always talk about, you know, what would tickets cost in the Super Bowl, XYZ, if your Chargers were facing this NFC team. Can you imagine the market for New York Jets in the Super Bowl?
In Vegas.
It would be in Vegas. It's got to be one of the 3 most expensive teams to go to the Super Bowl when you consider all the context, situation, and fan base. It would be one of the 3 most expensive tickets would involve the Jets.
Yeah, you'd probably be like begging Pat to call someone at DraftKings or something.
That is the only way you're getting tickets to that
because
game.
Vegas,
you're far too cheap to buy them on your own. So you need me to get you in.
And
we could do it for the show. You could live stream me for the show. You could like.
So now we're already working on ways to get you inside the Super Bowl. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I really want to go if the Jets are there.
Maybe DraftKings will have a suite for you at one of the fancy hotels.
I don't need it. That'd be nice. You know,
you can steal some soap.
It's not
win or
stealing
lose.
if it's yours. It's not stealing. It doesn't have to be super nice. It can be next to the stadium for all I care. Super Bowl Sunday, I don't know what time the doors open to the stadium. I'm getting there as the second the doors open. I got to catch it all. I got to be there for every second. I'd love to be first in, last out if the night goes my way. I've already been thinking about this over the last day or so. I was like, what would it be like to walk into Allegiant Stadium that day, knowing that like it's all on the line today? That this could be, the day of all days. That I don't know if I ever thought I was going to get this day, and I may never ever get it again. Being able to attend that Super Bowl would be a dream.
You're just setting yourself up to be so disappointed.
You're right. They might lose that game, and that might be a real disappointment. But
no, I mean,
or they don't get there and they're terrible.
Wow. But you know what? I know how to handle that.
Do you? You don't seem to handle it very well. Whenever they win a game, you then say, I can't see them losing another game.
But this team is different. Like, I think we're more, like as good as anybody in any game and better than most in most. And the odds reflect that. We're already if they haven't been to the playoffs in 11 years, and they're 14-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys are also 14-1 to win the Super Bowl. Maybe people who bet on these teams are just morons.
Yeah, but Dallas goes to the playoffs just about every single season.
How many NFC Championships games have
None.
they been in since they won the Super Bowl in, 95?
I don't believe they've been in a single
0.
one since. Yeah, that's right. But they still made the playoffs a bunch. Look, The odds are reflective of what they think is going to happen. Like, what is the Jets over under win total going to be? With a
No,
14
these
to 1?
odds are no.
It's gotta
This
be what?
market is not reflective of what they think is going to happen.
What's the win total number going to be? It's got to be like 10.5 or
No.
11. It's got to be 10.5.
No,
if you're 14 to
they're
1,
still behind. The Bills will probably be 10.5. The Jets will be like 9.5.
You play the AFC West and the NFC East, right?
And the AFC East. The Patriots look like they're shit. The Dolphins and Bills should be good enough to beat. I mean, they can play with anyone, Tim.
Didn't the Patriots beat them twice last year?
Yes.
yeah, one on a punt return, and another because the referees were basically wearing blue and silver.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be really disappointing when it's the Week 17 game. The Patriots have nothing to play for. Jets need to win to get in, and the Patriots beat them on a return.
It will be
touchdown.
disappointing because I don't expect it to go down to Week 17 and need to get into the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
I expect to be into the playoffs by Thanksgiving.
Halloween?
Oh yeah.
I expect to be in by Thanksgiving. I expect to star by my team's name December 1st, and I will accept no substitutes.
Geoff,
See, this is what I mean, Pat. Like the roller coaster. Even if they get to the postseason, he is setting himself up, the show up, the audience up for this is best case scenario. Tim thinking he's going to the Super Bowl. I thought I was going to the Super Bowl last summer. It ended with me having a personal breakdown.
the best case scenario for all of this is a 2-7 first round matchup, Chargers at Jets.
I just want in the tournament.
I'm fine with that. There's one team that doesn't scare the Jets in the playoffs. It's the Chargers.
I got no comeback.
Yeah, but this is a new team, Geoff. You just heard, the Jets don't win anything, but now it's a new team. So there's maybe it's a new team for the Chargers. Maybe they'll get Darius Slay, who's on the market now.
Now, to be fair, both of those games were at Qualcomm. So maybe if it's 2-7
you're right.
New York, maybe
On the note of the Chargers, but just the league, obviously, like it's polarizing the fantasy guy. But it seems like you can have Eckler, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook if you want to trade for them. I don't know what they're worth in any trade. I don't want to trade Austin Eckler for some 6th round draft pick. I'd rather dare him to not show up the first day of camp. This is an important year for the Chargers. Make him play or don't make him play, but sort of use your leverage and say, we're not going to just give you away.
On the right team, somebody like Eckler or Henry would make sense, but it's got to be the right team. The same way that San Francisco needed a running back, but it had to be the right running back to sort of propel the second half of their season. And there's not many, there aren't many teams you can really think of for whom a really good running back. You mentioned Buffalo. That is actually a team for whom that would actually make a lot of sense.
But they don't need an Eckler. They need a Henry.
That's what I mean for Henry. Like Henry would actually make some sense for them. He would provide them with something, or the Dolphins for that matter, would provide them with a pounding back that they so sorely need that they haven't had.
But don't they just, if teams are looking at that and they could either trade for Derrick Henry, despite I do not know what Derrick Henry would command in an open market in terms of
not
trade.
much.
But at this point, don't you just sign Zeke?
Zeke's done though. I don't think Zeke's done. No. As someone who owned him in fantasy last year and watched him very closely,
different
I watched a lot of
his
his snaps. I watched a lot of his snaps. Just because you drafted
him in the second round.
No. I'm saying because I drafted him, I watched him intensely. And what I saw from him was that he was done.
Yeah, but now he's going to get a $2.4 million deal or something.
No, I honestly think he's dust. I'm not convinced that Henry is yet. He's got 1 or 2 more years before he does that. And if you're a team in the NFC, who's got a chance to do something, he would make some sense. And I don't know, where's an NFC team that's competitive that needs a running back?
All the good NFC teams have running backs, though. It's weird.
Yeah, like maybe Seattle.
Seattle has Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, that's true. No, you're right. No, he wasn't, but you're right.
It's funny because the optimal
Tampa,
team,
maybe
the
Tampa?
optimal team for Austin Eckler is the team he's currently on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would like to
the Broncos. The Broncos could use.
Yeah, the Broncos have Javonte coming back, and they signed P. Ryan to fill in.
I would like to squeeze squeeze everything out of Eckler. One more season, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. But I don't know why the Chargers would make him happy, in an important year for the Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers are much better off going out and signing Slay and Schultz instead of paying Eckler.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
Although
we
Darius,
better not
Darius
pay
Slay did sign.
Schultz. I don't want to say we better
He did
not pay
sign?
Schultz.
Yeah, with Philadelphia. Darius Slay signed with Philadelphia.
I thought he got
What are you
cut by
talking? He got
Philadelphia.
cut by Philadelphia.
I thought he was signed by Philadelphia.
Yeah, he
I'm
got
sorry.
cut by Philadelphia.
I was in such a reverie of Jets excitement that I saw that tweet, assumed that he was staying in Philadelphia, and that was that. I'm sorry.
So he's on the open market. It does seem like the Chargers do have interest in Schultz. Like
They
what
d-
do you
what-
what do you want them to do, Geoff?
Not sign, not overpay a tight end when there's a class that I love. And we didn't put ourselves in salary cap hell for next year to overpay a tight end. Like, I would be really upset with that. Not that I don't like Dalton Schultz, but there's no market for these guys. I'd rather Gesicki.
For the price.
Yeah. Don't like Kellen Moore schemed him wide open. I bet the guy scored a lot of first touchdowns for me. I don't not like Dalton Schultz. I think it's a lazy report. Oh, sorry. I take that back. I'm hopeful. It's just lazy reporting. What do I mean by that? That day one of free agency ends. Dalton Schultz, number one guy at his position, doesn't have a contract. Let's connect a dot with this team that has a need at the position and his former offensive coordinator.
You know what team needs a running back in the NFC and has a chance is the Lions. They need another running back.
Just
Williams
signed David
gone,
Montgomery.
but Williams is gone. These guys are all better than David Montgomery. They're not the same type of running back as David
Exactly.
Montgomery.
I mean, but Detroit has, I mean, he's never healthy, but DeAndre Swift is kind of like what Eckler does, and they just signed David Montgomery because they want to play like 2 or 3 backs at a time.
The rumors I've heard for Eckler are Washington and Chicago.
But
Well,
Washington's that
Chicago,
guy who got
yes.
shot.
And,
Yeah, I think we might be getting like Gibson back in a trade.
That's Cuss guy, Gibson.
I liked Gibson. He played well last year.
I would play hardball with Eckler. I don't know. I don't know what the market is for any of these guys.
But you'd want Eckler on the team, right? Just not at
Yes, I want Eckler on the team. He gives us the best chance for next year. Next year is an important year in a very competitive situation.
120-1 for a Jets Lions Super Bowl. If you were to bet it right now,
Do it.
yeah, there's real value in that.
You think there's real value in that?
I do.
So you
Lions
think
are really good, and the Jets are the have the fourth shortest odds in the AFC.
Sure. So they're 4th in their own conference.
Yeah,
Who's after
now.
the Jets, Tim?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, I believe. I believe
It's the Dolphins and Chargers.
Broncos.
5-1.
the Broncos are next. Yes.
Shut up. The
Yeah,
Broncos are ahead of the Dolphins and the Chargers
No,
and the Jags.
They're the same. The Ravens, Broncos, Chargers, and Dolphins are all 25-1, and the Jags are 28.
Well, I'm just looking at in the conference. Broncos and Chargers are plus 1,300. Ravens and Dolphins plus 1,400. Jags 1,500.
So let's comment on the Broncos here for a second.
I've liked their moves.
Yeah, they don't want Russell to throw a football.
Yeah, and if he does, they want him to be protected for 3 seconds so he can throw it 10 yards down the field. They want to run the ball.
Yeah.
Lions are fourth.
What are
favorite
the
in NFC
odds?
too, interestingly,
What are the odds that Taysom Hill starts a game at QB for the Denver Broncos in the next 4 years?
98%.
I don't know if he starts the game, but he'll throw a pass.
Oh,
No,
throw a pass 100%. But like 98%, he starts a game, either a meaningless game or something.
And I love him. I'd hate to have to play him. I mean it. Sean Payton would actually use that effectively. I don't really. I love the guard they signed, Powers from the Ravens. He's a beast. I think the one they got from San Francisco is so overrated.
Oh, that's Cuss guy, McGlinchey.
Yeah, no. 49er fans, they don't even like him. You know why?
He's good, though. He's maybe
You know why?
overrated, but he is good.
Yeah, he's overrated. And 49er fans, they've always had a bad taste in their mouth for him because they took him the pick before Derwin.
Well, I guess that means that people in the NFC are glad that they're not being headhunted every week. So that's good for NFC teams. They didn't take Derwin.
I think the Chargers are fucked, by the way.
The
I
Chargers.
don't think that's true. Not this year.
Yeah,
You're in the race too, Geoff.
No.
You have a quarterback and a team who on any day can win that coin flip game with anybody.
Okay. Obviously, it's a lie when I say I don't care, but I do not like just sit on how Tim says, if he just ends up on a bench, he'll just be thinking about the Jets. If I end up just sitting on a bench with 15 minutes to spare every other year of my life, I'd be thinking about the Chargers. Not anymore. Nope.
Did you know that Friday is the last day that you can vote in the Custy Awards, Geoff?
I do now.
That's all you got. Tim, are you still feeling good about your chances?
Sorry, I just turned my mic back on. I was having a bit of a cough.
I do feel good about it. I mean, think of some of the fights that Geoff has picked over the last several months, and you tell me that he's not the most insane person, please.
He won his fight with Acho, though. He's 1-0.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, no, Tim, you made it pretty easy. Last year there was a bit of competition. It may have felt like this year you've really kind of blown past me, and you'll do it again next year because you'll be so insane about your trip to the Super Bowl.
Well, if the Jets win, I'm not on the ballot. That's one of the stipulations. If the Jets win the Super Bowl, I'm not eligible to be voted most insane next year. It's sort of my additional gift I get for them winning the Super Bowl.
Who made up this rule?
I did right now.
Well,
I think it's a
not
fair
real
rule.
Sorry.
Like, I can still be on the ballot for all the other takes, but most insane person, I am ineligible to be elected if the Jets win the Super Bowl.
Well, that's not true because you know how badly you're going to win in a landslide if the Jets do win the Super Bowl.
What do you mean? I mean, I couldn't care. If the Jets I don't care what happens. The Jets win the Super Bowl and they're bad for another 15 years, I'll be okay with it.
No one is okay with that, by the way. People say that all the time and then it happens.
I genuinely am.
Look at Patriots fans.
They're greedy.
Look at
selfish.
Them. Look at them. You don't think Chiefs fans are going to be this exact same way in 10 years?
I've wanted it my whole life, and I never thought I'd get it. So if I get it, and knowing that I would have got it through like the way the Rams did, sort of renting it to get the Super Bowl, I won't ask for anything more. I will be content in my. Them winning the Super Bowl might be the worst thing for the show because I will have a very different, easygoing demeanor after a Super Bowl win.
Do you believe him, Geoff?
I like to think he's telling the truth.
I believe it changes a person.
I know what he's talking about, but I don't know. I don't believe him.
Well, did you happen? When we were doing the Cut Sweat live show on Friday, when there was no golf to be watched, but we ended up going into the studio and doing a taste test, and you were on the line, but we couldn't hear you. Did you watch any of that?
Yeah, Tim just gorging his sandwich as he's complaining about it.
Well, if anyone missed it, this is what happened. Chicken Big Mac, a poulet Big Mac. This one is yours.
Okay.
This one is mine. There we go.
All right. Bon appetit, I suppose.
I mean, you said you were not going to have anyone to come into it. Just tastes like a regular chicken sandwich. Which is good. I like chicken sandwiches. I like the chicken.
Honestly, what you taste is the Big Mac sauce for me. I taste the lettuce and the Big Mac sauce and the cheese. The chicken is it's okay. It's okay. It's not great. I would rather a real Big Mac.
People are saying that you look very happy for someone who is eating something you hate.
Well, I won't go so far as to say I hate the sandwich, but I don't love it. It's okay. It's a perfectly passable grade.
You loved it enough to keep half of it on your face.
Oh dear. Can I have a serviette, please?
There are none.
Really? Usually they give all kinds of serviettes.
What? What?
Yeah, I mean, the chicken is it's super thin, right?
It is very thin.
If you get a
I mean, I don't like Big Macs to begin with.
Fair enough. If you get a Mac chicken, right, it's a little thicker of a patty. This one's a bit thinner. Like, it's not a bad sandwich, don't get me wrong, but it's not a great sandwich.
What was that little shake you got going there? Is it giving you Parkinson's?
I'm trying to eat. You'll make me choke.
Don't choke. Here, we can get you a, what do we got over here? You can have one of these warm bushes that Paul had in the studio from before he could not drink them anymore. Or
You can have
oh, yeah, that's right.
a whole 32-pack of DCs.
Thank you for uncursing the Bills in the first round of the playoffs.
How did that end up?
Well, they won that game.
I mean, they did.
The blood money.
Oh, God.
That was like the time you tried to hit the top of my beer glass in Charlotte.
I did hit the top of your beer glass in Charlotte. So, Paul, we were on a golf trip about, I guess, 13 years ago now. We went to go see March Madness
We did.
in Charlotte. And Tim had never had anyone who, like, tipped the top of his beer before. So we're sitting in a restaurant. I do that to him, which, if I did that to you, you had a bottle of beer, I hit the top of it, what would you automatically do? Knowing that all the beer is coming out of that bottle now.
Drink it.
You put your mouth around it to get all the beer. Tim just goes, holds it, lets it spill all over the floor.
I'd never seen it done before.
I'm sorry, Geoff, that we can't hear you.
I'm also not.
We were not equipped for coming into the studio.
I'm also not convinced the Big Mac sauce works with chicken.
I mean, I don't have any Big Mac sauce on mine. Or pickles. Because I don't like any of that stuff.
Okay, but like to have a Big Mac, those are sort of like. I think the sauce is a sine qua non. Otherwise, it's just a hamburger.
Yeah, well, I didn't actually want like I said, I don't like Big Macs, mainly because of the Big Mac sauce.
Tim, you were looking like a guy who likes that sandwich.
That's true. You are going to town on this sandwich.
I have barely eaten today.
You can go to that Greek restaurant you like so much?
It's a Friday during Lent, so I usually don't eat sun up to sundown. I usually wait till it's dark. I usually fast on Fridays during Lent.
You're fucked.
Anyhow, so I really haven't eaten much all day. I had some plain Greek yogurt with raspberries before the sun came up this morning. It's delicious.
Are you the glove man?
Yeah, are you glove guy? I don't think he's capable of like sewing his own leather into the gloves. I mean, he just needs someone to work him in.
Stop that.
So you would never get one of these again?
I don't think I would purchase one of these, no. And it's not again because it's bad. It's not bad. It's like a 6 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10. It's just McDonald's has so many other good options. If I were in the mood for this type of sandwich, I'd just go for a Big Mac. Because I like the Big Mac sauce. I like beef better than chicken. Like, I think it goes better. But again, it's not horrible, but it is kind of what I thought. It was unnecessary. Wasn't bad though.
But now that you've had one, are you still going to be triggered that they exist?
Well, I'm annoyed still that
But
they
why?
exist.
You just said you'd never have to order one again. What does it matter to you?
Like,
Are you triggered that they have these fancy boxes that say Chicken Big Mac on them?
I don't understand why they felt compelled to hype them up so much when I just...
Because it's a new product. That's what people do with new products.
Yeah,
they
but
don't need to advertise you the Big Mac. You know it exists.
It just doesn't meet the moment, I think.
The moment of what?
Like all the advertisements, all the foofara and the interest in it, and it just doesn't quite justify it. Like it's a C minus C plus sandwich. Yeah, it was okay.
So you would rate it a 6 out of 10.
I think I'd
Now,
rate
I asked you this the other day,
Okay.
that if something is at McDonald's and it's rated 6 out of 10, are you comparing it to anything at McDonald's, all fast food, or all food?
All food.
That doesn't make any sense. If this is a 6 out of 10 versus all food and you think it's terrible.
I didn't say it was terrible. I said it was okay. It's good. It's a passing grade. Most food, by the way, is good. Most food gets a passing grade.
But it doesn't, because it's on a scale with it's comparing food to food.
Yes.
So like something has to be at the bottom.
Oh yeah, like mushrooms. They could be at the bottom. Oof. Pardon me, I've eaten too quickly.
Are you going to live?
I don't
Not
know.
the tour.
I'm gonna know. Is it going to be?
Is that what it took you to get to the live tour? A fucking chicken Big Mac? Phil got $1 billion. You get a chicken Big Mac, pal.
Not only that, but like Phil was proven right. Phil was offered them this idea of $1 billion, this, that, or the other. He was tweeting about it this week. For some reason, Phil gets into people's mentions out of nowhere. Starts writing.
Phil is like you. He's just Googling his name at home because he has nothing else to do. I mean, I can't hear Geoff, but I'm sure Geoff does the same thing.
Definitely. But, Phil should be practicing for Augusta. He should be practicing.
What about for Tucson?
Well, that's kind of a
Oh,
home track for
yeah.
him.
So someone in the comments just put this out.
Oh, yes.
You can have your Diet Coke in your new Batman Forever mug that was sent in by our viewers. Cody. Thanks
you.
again, Cody.
This means a lot to me. I mean that.
I do like that the first one he sent shattered as he put it into the box. Kill me, Timbers! I got him good. Are you just reaching for another Diet Coke?
Yeah, whatever. It's life in the streets. This is supper. 2 DCs and a chicken Big Mac.
Are we recording this show? Of course. Oh, perfect. So, Tim, have you had a second chicken Big Mac?
No, I have not.
Really? How come?
Because, like I told you, it was okay, but nothing to write home about and nothing that I would buy again.
So, Geoff, to break it down like the Zapruder film here, people noticed a few things about this video. One, that when Tim, who had previously said that it is disrespectful to eat a hamburger with 2 hands, is eating one with 2 hands, turns his hamburger around 180 degrees after he takes a bite. It's really bizarre.
Why is it disrespectful with the 2 hands again?
That's what he said.
I don't know if I said it was disrespectful. I said I don't do it as a rule. A Big Mac is different, and I think Jess will back me up. It's one of the messiest fast food burgers on earth because that lettuce flies everywhere.
I don't eat Big Macs. I wouldn't even know.
Oh, you never eat them? Like you've never eaten them?
No, it's not. I like my burgers kind of plain. So if how I would order a Big Mac would be
It's just a bun and chop
and some cheese. It'd just be a weird. It's not necessary.
The way you wanted it at Harvey's that time you berated that poor man because you couldn't be bothered to wear a mask in the middle of a pandemic inside Harvey's. Right.
Is that something that Geoff has in common with Aaron Rodgers?
I'm not relitigating that. I'm not relitigating that.
I mean, is
Also-
anything I say not true? I mean,
Also, on the second bite, when Tim is doing the taste test, if people go back and rewind a little bit and watch it, he says that it just tastes like Big Mac sauce. And that's all he can taste, when clearly the bite that he took is just bun and Big Mac sauce with no chicken on it. It's fantastic. A lot of stuff going on in this video.
I have no recollection of that. I do know with a Big Mac, because it's so messy, you do need to keep moving it, I suppose, because it like stuff is falling out of it. And sort of like when you eat an ice cream cone and you're trying to catch your drips, so you keep moving the ice cream cone. I think it's something similar going on there.
I can see it with an ice cream cone. I don't think you need to do it with a Big Mac.
Well, I don't know. It was all subconscious. I wasn't controlling it.
But that makes it even crazier.
And
I don't think
Tim,
it's crazy.
I can tell you McDonald's has not listened to you. So I don't want to hit a sensitive subject, but I got the fresh booklet of seasonal coupons in the mail, and it's still referred to as the 2 can dine.
I know. Somebody tweeted at me a edited version of the coupons that just said Tim can dine. Rather than 2 to allay my concerns. And yeah, I mean, it is hurtful language to a lot of people who are ordering them and it's one person, not 2.
You mean fucking
or it's
snowflakes like you?
or it's 3 or 4 people sharing
No,
it.
I think people who are that hungry don't give a shit and they're not
But
offended.
what if it's more than 2 people sharing it? Then you're sort of like judging them for, oh well, you don't have enough to buy 3 or 4 of these. You only have enough to buy for 2, even though there's more than you. Like there's something judgmental there too. So I just think you're
give me a
on shaky
fucking
ground.
break. Give me a break.
I think you're on shaky ground there when you call it.
Oh yeah.
Fine.
They're super concerned about it. You and your fragile ego.
Well, first, my ego isn't fragile.
It sounds like it. You're complaining about 2 can dine because you want to eat both meals.
I'm saying that is one way people can complain, but people also could complain in case like more than 2 people are sharing it. That's sort of a judgmental.
Have you never shared a plate with someone?
I have. I'm not a big sharer, but I have shared in the past.
See, I enjoy a nice share. Like, hey, I'll have some of yours. You have some of mine. Hey, this is a lot of
I
food.
will
Maybe we
share,
it.
but the thing is, I don't like germs, so I don't like sharing a lot. Like I will in some instances, but I didn't grow up in a household where there were like a lot of common bowls on the table that people scooped stuff out of.
My wife, when we go out for dinner, it's like she's waiting for me to say what I'm going to order so then she can then plan her whole thing,
She plays
which
off of
involves
it.
having some of what I'm going to have. But then it, like, most of the time she's also courteous. Like maybe she'll get something that I'm going to want, but it's this whole like awkward dance that I forget is happening until it happens every time.
Irrespective if the other person likes or doesn't like it.
No,
I agree.
No, because Geoff is going to order what he wants to eat. But I see what she's doing here because my wife does the same thing, and I'll do it to her. Sometimes if I hear her order something like, oh, I would really like that. I know I'm going to get like 20% of it. That I'll start being courteous, be like, hey, what's something that I would like, but she might also like. We can like swap a little bit.
Sure, I don't doubt that is something that people do. I usually just look at the menu and think, what was it that I'd like to have to eat?
Yeah, because but you're a main character. We're not.
I'm not a main character.
Oh, you are most definitely a main character. You and Aaron Rodgers, the most main character people on
Aaron Rodgers is not a main character.
Really?
I go back and forth on this because you see people on the internet like Florio trolling Rodgers, saying the media lives rent-free in his head. But, they're equally as obsessed with everything he does.
Because he doesn't play their game. He doesn't give them what they want.
Okay, you're right. He doesn't play their game. But at the same time, I do feel like he enjoys playing games with them.
Oh, definitely. He likes to troll them, no doubt. Why did he mention that stuff earlier today about Schefter in the McAfee interview? Just because he could. And then Schefter played right back and sent a great tweet right back. And Schefter said, well, maybe I'll release the other things that he texted or whatever. Like, they clearly deserve the same way that CNN and Donald Trump deserve each other and love each other and need and feed off each other. The media and Rodgers do the same thing to each other. Like they need that type of toxicity to coexist. They like it. They enjoy that.
I want to go back to McDonald's for a second, Geoff, because we didn't get to talk about this with you either. But now the Twitter accounts of Wendy's and McDonald's have taken shots at Tim. And Tim, oh, and I totally forgot. Tim thought he was banned from McDonald's.
We had spoken about this, and I'd mentioned how insane that was.
Well, you told me I was banned.
For Tim to think some regional manager at the 2 locations that, corner his McDonald's eating give a shit or no, or like, I almost joked that he's due for another email like the one Bronsteiner sent him Netflix.
Yeah, but I'm on the look for those things.
Can you tell the audience what you did to see if you were banned or not?
There were snowstorms. No. It was snowing the Saturday and the Friday. And so the Friday I decided it was snowing, so I don't drive in the snow. So I walked. It was only like a kilometer.
How would he ban you?
So I walked up to the McDonald's and made a purchase and then sent it to our friend saying, ha, not banned. And they're like, oh yeah, but it takes a day for the ban to take effect. And like, they can't get their stuff done that quickly. And I was like, damn it.
You're so
I honestly couldn't sleep that whole night thinking about it, thinking like, I don't know what I would do if I was banned from McDonald's. Like I don't need to go there every day and I don't, but like, I need to know it's there every day in case I want it. And so then the next day was also a bit icy and I don't drive on icy roads. So I walked again to the top of the hill and made another purchase. And then instead of like congratulating me, the people in the thread just took strips off me and I felt very humiliated.
Okay. You give these fast food restaurants way too much credit, like they have some secret surveillance or that they're James Dolan who's scanning people coming into the garden. Didn't you do something recently where you thought the drive-through you're being
I won't throw my
filmed
ice out in the drive-through because I'm afraid that I'll be caught for littering.
Oh yeah, or something. You'll get a ticket via drive-through.
Yeah.
Footage. Like, what sort of
And
airport?
then an RCMP friend of ours.
You think
told us that
McDonald's
that's
is
against the
better
law.
air? You think McDonald's is better security than an airport, essentially?
They've got cameras everywhere. They're on the watch for people.
Yeah, but that's just like for the break-in and or for the
Look,
crime.
I
or
don't
just
know.
For the
I don't
insurance.
know how everything works. I get nervous. I got afraid. I just, and that's just what happened.
You realize your friends make you afraid because of how easy you get afraid
Well,
over
but
the
see,
dumbest things.
I don't think that that's actually what they're trying to do.
No, they know how easily and they know how gullible you are and how innocent it is. So they have no problem stirring you up over something that anyone with any common sense would know.
Oh well, if they think they're getting me going, they're very mistaken. I can just shake
walked to
this off.
McDonald's twice in an ice storm.
Whatever.
You're like
but I can
wearing
shake
your
this
hood.
off.
But you probably walk into the McDonald's with your like hood covering your face. Guaranteed.
I actually went to the kiosk because I was so concerned that maybe like they had the I was told like if you're banned from the casino, they have your picture up and they know exactly where you are.
Oh yeah,
So, like
this was the thing, Geoff. So he thinks that McDonald's is going to ban him because we told him, yet he doesn't believe if you self-exclude or get banned from a casino that they'll be able to tell that you're there.
See, I was saying airport, but yeah, you think that McDonald's, where you're just trying to buy your 2 can dine for 1, gives a crap about
stop
anything.
calling it that.
No, but why do you have it in your head that there's this matching surveillance to a casino or inferior surveillance at a casino is so weird, Tim.
I don't know how to explain it. I just know that I was very anxious and concerned and needed to make sure that McDonald's wasn't out of my life.
You're gullible and you're fragile.
Oh, no, I'm not fragile, and I'm no more gullible than the next person.
No.
Please. Like, have I been fooled before? Yeah, sure. Okay, it's happened. But, like, no more than anybody else. You're right. I don't walk around.
A guy you
people.
know who's friends with you tells you, oh, shoot, you might be banned from McDonald's now for life.
Well, it wasn't just one. Then they all started.
Isn't that a coincidence?
No, I thought at that point, like, they were being straight with me. I can't tell when people I can't tell when people are being straight with me versus when people are joking with me sometimes.
You offered to pay our friend Tim Butts to get the McDonald's for you while you waited in the parking lot for the food. Like it was a fucking crack deal.
Yes, I said if I can't go, I'll pay you to go for me.
How
I don't think
little
that's
do you
weird.
think of his time that he would want to do that?
Well, no, but if he is going sometime, he's getting free food out of it.
He doesn't want to eat McDonald's all the time. He's on a diet.
Just like someone who's been kicked out of a sports book needs someone else to make that play for them.
Yeah.
There you go. How is it any different?
No different at all. I get you. Tim, man, come on.
There was also this last thing. We had a friend sent this to us, Geoff, and we're all a part of the sports media here on a very, albeit lower level than a lot of people. But he said, I'm listening to this March Madness episode and wondering whether Cust is the only person in all of sports media whose value is tied specifically to his lack of expertise on things.
I enjoyed the March Madness.
So did I. I thought it was great.
Show. But I watch it knowing like this is weird, like watching Tim talk about things.
Oh, look, but I laid my cards on the table before the episode began. Is that I didn't know very much this year at all. Sorry, I just didn't. I just knew the slightest bit of stuff. I used to watch a lot more college basketball than I used to. I don't watch nearly as much anymore.
You still going for Matt Painter and your boys?
I still think, that Purdue is going to win the bracket. But I really like Gonzaga too.
Like the same teams every year.
The Gonzaga and actually Duke have nice draws.
More free agency. still going on. Tim, you do not like the Juju signing?
No, like it's a waste of money. They lost a better receiver in Jacoby Myers and gained a worse receiver, in my opinion. Juju already had the opportunity to be the guy on a team, and he floundered. Then he went to Kansas City, where he played fine as like the third or fourth option. And now the Patriots are paying him $11 million a year to do what? Be their best receiver? Like, they're better off not spending the money than spending that much money on him, I think.
That's the conclusion that I came to. That I guess is there a cap minimum like in the NBA, Geoff, for the NFL?
Yeah, there's a
cap?
floor.
What's that?
For sure, there's a floor.
There's a floor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They just got rid of Jonnu, so they traded his terrible contract away. I guess they just got to spend money on anyone at this point.
Yeah, the receiver market is weird. Is there that big of a difference between Myers and Juju though?
I think I mean, I don't know if Myers is necessarily better, but at least he knows the system that they're currently running, and Juju kind of seems washed.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't know what the Patriots are doing. I mean, I guess if you're the Patriots, you look at the division, and it was already hard with 2 playoff teams. Now the Jets have added Aaron Rodgers, and you're like, okay, we're done. So let's bottom out and, maybe go after, obviously the Patriots have a real shot at number 1 pick next year if they play their cards right in the AFC with a lot of hard games. Bring in that stud from USC and try to rebuild.
There's 2 quarterbacks who might be better than any quarterback in this year's draft.
I agree. I agree. I think next year is the year to be the number 1 or number 2 team in the draft. And the Patriots have a bad enough team and are in a strong enough division and conference where they could easily go this year 3-14 and have the number 1 pick.
I find it difficult to believe that a Bill Belichick team would be 3-14. Like, even if they're shitty, they'll be like 6-11.
Who would the favorite to be like right now? Who do you think is the favorite to be the worst team next year?
Tennessee.
Arizona's
Tennessee. Yeah, keep an eye maybe in tennis. No, Vrabel. No, the way you speak about Belichick, he's not Belichick, but there's no way Vrabel is the worst team.
Yeah, but I think that Vrabel will be more committed to being like, okay, my job is safe. Let's be the worst team. Let's get ourselves a quarterback. Like, I could see them trading Derrick Henry, playing Malik Willis, and just going YOLO. Like, the Colts could also be terrible again. That's possible in that division. The Texans could also be terrible again in that division. And then the Cardinals are the other team. But, like, what do you do if you're the Cardinals and you get the number 1 pick?
You would take a you take a quarterback.
Yeah, like
in that draft,
you take the quarterback, but you still owe Kyler like $200 million.
Someone would trade for Kyler Murray, and he'd have to restructure the deal. They'd restructure the deal so he got paid in some way. But all the people there now aren't tied to Kyler. They weren't a part of the people that brought Kyler in. So
yeah, but they are tied to Kyler because they owe him all this guaranteed money.
Sure, but like they weren't the ones that drafted him. They weren't the ones that signed him to that contract. So like they would not feel as obligated to keep things going.
Yeah, but
or you could trade. All
I'm saying is that's a very difficult contract to get out of.
You could trade that pick for more than like 2 times what the Bears got for the first overall pick.
Oh, I agree with that.
And then great. Like then that might even be better if you get like 4 firsts or 3 firsts and 3 seconds and an impact player. Like, you could really cash that in because Williams from USC is going to be really special.
Because he can.
Yeah, the other one is May from North Carolina.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's hard for me to predict any team in the NFC because, it's we all thought Seattle was going to be that last year. And Seattle made the playoffs. So the NFC is so bad that just about any team.
It's almost impossible. Shouldn't say that. It's
in the
really
AFC,
hard.
It's funny. The 3 teams that are best positioned to tank are all in the worst division, which is honestly why I think the Patriots are in that kind of a spot.
Well,
to Pat's point, though, that like if Vrabel actually, he knows that he's comfortable, he could actually tank properly, unlike Flores, who forbid to because he's a rookie head coach or something. I'm not tanking. And, I
don't know. Flores is in the safest position imaginable. They're never going to fire 3 coaches in 1 year back to back to back.
No, I mean, like the tanking. Like tanking doesn't seem... I don't want to say it doesn't exist, but you need the Vrabel situation. You need a coach that feels like he's going to be there the next decade.
Plus, the Texans are going to take a quarterback with the 2nd pick.
Yeah, you're probably right on that
Like,
as
I
well.
think you're talking about Flores as a part of Miami not tanking, knowing that he wouldn't keep his job. He didn't keep his job anyway. D'Amico Ryan.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about the concept of tanking. Like it just doesn't
Happen.
it doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. Every time you think it's happening, it gets blown out.
Well,
The
yeah, 'cause
only
you can't
situation
44
that could
guys.
allow for it is if like a guy like Vrabel's like, no, I'm actually going to set my, like a guy who has tenure, who's proven it, who knows he's still going to be there for a long time, that actually sees the like.
So I say I think it's a little bit different. The reason why the Belichick situation and the Vrabel situation is different is Belichick is his own GM, so he's not going to tank the team that way. The way that you tank in the NFL is the GM is the one who needs to tank because the coaches are never going to do it. You need to get rid of your good players, and then they can't play the good players anymore because the good players.
But you have to have a coach who's bought in, because Lovie Smith, look what, like just that last day, right?
Sure, but they didn't have good players. Like they put out the crappiest team possible and they won a game.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, there's nothing you can do about that at some point because the coaches aren't going to, like, if you start trying to tank, like, unlike basketball or hell, even baseball at some points or whatever sport that it might be, like, you can genuinely have a career-ending injury in football and that's it if you're not playing full speed.
Yeah, that's right. And there's also, 22 guys playing each game, whereas in basketball there's 5 guys on the field on the court, or baseball 9 or 1. So
yeah, and the careers tend to be a bit longer in those other sports than football.
Definitely. And the team movement isn't nearly as frequent as in the NFL, and that's a numbers game too.
So other signings that I liked, Rashad Penny to Philadelphia. I think it's a really good spot for him. It's better than re-signing Miles Sanders.
I agree. I don't hate that at all.
It was really cheap too.
Yeah, he fits in perfectly with they want to run 3 running backs. He always gets hurt, but he's going to have like 3 or 4 games where he's fucking awesome because that's what he does. Just hopefully it's at the end of the year for them. What were some of the other ones? Marcus Davenport went to the Vikings. I think that hurts the Saints D. That's great for Minnesota's D. And they have Flores now, right? He's their D coordinator.
Minnesota, yes.
Yeah. Like it's funny because all the talk I've seen is Detroit's going to be great. They're 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. Chicago, they have Fields and they just got DJ Moore. Now they have all these picks. Like Minnesota should be better than both those teams by a pretty significant amount if their defense improves at all.
I'm pro Minnesota. I know they signed Brian Murphy from Arizona. He's probably going to be their number 1 corner. Didn't they sign the D tackle from the Jets today, or that was someone else?
Yes, somebody signed Rankins today.
I believe that was Houston.
Oh,
Could have
yeah,
been.
you're right.
He's a nice player too.
Vikings lost Kendricks. That was kind of expected.
And they lost Patrick Peterson to the Steelers, but whatever.
And again, there's talk that Cook could be had, because who wants to pay a running back the franchise tag for run? The best thing that can happen to a running back now appears to get franchise tagged.
It also makes the most sense for the team at this point too. Like the Barkley for $10 million for 1 year, that's great. I'll take Barkley 1 year, $10 million. What I don't want to do is take him 5 years, $70 million with $45 million guaranteed. What else do we get here? Quarterback signed. You got Dalton to the Panthers.
I don't understand that. He's not good. I don't understand that. I don't understand Jameis coming back to the Saints. I'm flabbergasted by that.
Why
don't you understand Dalton? He's just going to back up a rookie or be a good mentor for a rookie.
Because he's completely washed. He's not the veteran that I would be interested in. I've seen him now in 3 different spots since he left the Bengals and be just awful in all of them. At some point, you just got to go with somebody else.
If the Bears do fall on their face, or I shouldn't say the Bears, if Fields ends up not being good, and they use next year be year 3, they'll have the picks to make a move, maybe to go back up in the draft.
Oh, well, I think, there won't be any waiting on Fields. He has to be good this year and show real improvement this year with the guys that they have brought in, or they will move on. I think it is pretty clear this is a 1-year dress rehearsal for him.
I don't hate Dalton to Carolina. Like, Carolina's not going to be good either way. At least have a guy who's essentially, we see this with a bunch of younger teams. sign this type of player who is, he's a player coach. And if he has to go in, like, whatever, you suck anyway. And if not, he can help the young quarterback improve.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like Frank Reich didn't coach him. I don't know. I just feel like Andy Dalton is washed, and I wouldn't be giving him a 2-year contract with guaranteed money like that.
I mean, a lot of it was incentive based. He has to play so much, which they wouldn't expect him to do.
I just, if I'm a Panthers fan, the idea that Andy Dalton will probably be starting for me opening day isn't giving me incentive to go out and buy season tickets.
I don't think he's starting opening day. The number 1 pick doesn't sit anymore. Like, they just don't. It doesn't happen. Maybe like the 6th overall could sit because there's a situation like in Oakland or Vegas, in that sort of situation. But 1 overall, I can't even remember the last one that sat. Does not happen anymore. And your boy, Tim, I mean, Jim Caldwell, he's going to have a pretty influential role in deciding who that pick will be between him and Frank Reich and the owner there, and obviously the GM.
Yeah, that was a great signing to bring in Jim Caldwell as the assistant head coach there. That was really smart.
Heineke went to Atlanta, which I don't understand whatsoever. Why? Like, they're going to draft a quarterback, aren't they?
Maybe.
Like, what's their pick? They pick what, 7th, 8th?
7, yeah, 7. I think.
So, is this like a hedge in case a quarterback isn't there? Because they already have Desmond Ridder, who you would assume is starting or backing up whoever the 7th pick is.
And maybe Ridder is going to be the guy. I mean, they did draft him. They had him last year. Maybe they plan to start Ridder.
Okay. And they did just pick
possible that after the draft they would show interest in Lamar. Like, they don't want to give up 7th overall, but once the draft is, the pick is executed, or after draft day, then it's next year's picks that go on the clock.
Well,
I see what you're saying.
From what I understand with this Baltimore thing is that it's not like, that's only if you offer them a contract underneath this tag that you owe the 2 first-round picks. You can work out a deal with Baltimore that like, if you don't sign the offer,
correct,
you can still trade for Lamar. So
interesting. Yeah.
Is Sam Darnold the starter for the 49ers? I think
hard to say. I don't think he is. I really think you've got to start Trey Lance.
Is Lance for sure ready for week 1?
Yeah, I believe he is.
Okay, then Lance is going to start, but so this means that Purdy isn't.
My favorite NFL future right now, Pat, and I haven't made it.
Darnold
Maybe
MVP.
No. I do like Sam Darnold, and I would enjoy seeing him succeed there. So on DraftKings, it's 30-1 for Kyle Shanahan to win Coach of the Year. If he does it again, like, he's already earned the credit of it. Everyone talks about how great he is. If Trey Lance comes in there and plays well, Lance won't even get the credit. Just all go to Shanahan. Yeah, that's my favorite NFL future.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at it like, if in the market right now, Campbell, Salah, and Peyton and Eberflus and are the 4 favorites. Like, Frank Reich is 14-1. Frank Reich is actually the one that makes the most sense. Like, there's a clear path to this award. And I think that, I guess if Denver was really good,
you just took the words out of my mouth. If Sean Payton takes the Broncos to 10-7 and they win the wild card,
Russ goes back to All-Star.
Do we think that's possible? Like, not possible. Do we think that's probable? Do we think that's 12-1 probable?
Is there a 8% chance of it happening? Yeah, I actually think that's probably right.
But even Salah being ahead on the list, if the Jets are great, we're going to give Aaron Rodgers
credit. Yeah,
88% of this credit.
Like, they can't. Like, they were good. They were good enough last year that there's no improvement that doesn't get attributed to Rodgers.
No, exactly. Salah as a defensive coach, there's no way he's getting the credit. I don't see it.
And then it'll be a new defensive coordinator in San Fran because the DC left for Houston. So if the defense is great, Kyle Shanahan will get credit for, again, just his culture. He calls up a new DC. The status quo continues. The status quo continuing in San Fran wins Kyle Shanahan that award, in my opinion.
I would be looking for one of the shitty teams that you think could be good, almost like what Doug Peterson did last year, or, I mean, obviously what Dayball did last year, but a newer coach taking over a crappy team that there's just room for improvement. Like one of the Colts, Titans, and Texans are probably going to have like 7-8 wins. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
possibly.
I get that angle. Yeah, you got to play into that angle, obviously.
Who did the Colts end up having as their coach? Is that Shane Steichen?
It's the Shane Steichen. Yeah.
Wasn't that
Steichen,
guy
yeah.
like the QB coach for the Chargers like 3 years ago?
More. He was there under Frank Reich, and then he was in Indy under Frank Reich. So you're not totally off on your timeline, but yeah, he used to be at the Chargers.
Okay. Comeback player of the year. DeMar Hamlin at plus 150 feels like free money.
As long as he touches the field and plays it down, he will win comeback player of the year. It's like how Alex Smith was like a minus 30,000 to win that award the year he came back. The same can be said about
Like
DeMar.
who are the star running backs or quarterbacks that got season-ending injuries last
Well, just
year?
ask yourself,
Jonathan
who could
Taylor?
possibly cast a ballot the other way?
Well,
How
Trey
could you
Lance.
see DeMar
If Trey Lance is like an MVP candidate.
Yeah, and he can't win MVP because Kyle Shanahan would get all the credit. So
I
they might
still-
give him that.
I get what you're saying. I still think there's nobody who wouldn't vote for DeMar if he plays one snap. Sorry.
So it's a
Yeah,
bet against
I don't
whether-
disagree. What are his odds?
plus 150.
Ah,
Yeah, they know, but there's a chance he doesn't play, right?
That's essentially what you're betting. You are betting, does he play a snap of football this year?
They have Kelvin Ridley listed at 15 to 1. I have my doubts.
Yeah, he came back from a gambling suspension.
yeah, that's a tough one.
Cooper Kupp.
Trying to think because the last few years you have been able to call it, like the Alex Smith thing, and then a couple years ago, wasn't it just Burrow versus Dak? Like you knew in all years, like Burrow versus Dak.
Yeah, but now that they've introduced this, you can be shitty and come back. Like, why is Russell Wilson not on the table if he has a good year?
Okay, it's just that is optioned criteria. That seems to be the criteria that's worth the least. The shitty into good seems to be the criteria that is worth the least.
But didn't Gino win based on that exact
Yeah.
criteria?
Gino is more like from bench to starter, more than like because he was good when he played. He's better than Russ in his like 3 starts in Seattle a year ago.
Do you see Baker went to the Bucks?
1 year.
I mean, there's
That
probably
could be
not a
first
lot of
over.
better opportunities. for
That
him.
could be the first overall pick team, by the way. No?
I don't know. That's a bad division.
Yeah,
And they still do have some talent. They brought David back, who I thought was a nice,
It'll
one
be hard to bottom out in that.
Yeah, and like
You're right, because I even a Bears fan was complaining to me that the pick they'll get next year from Carolina will be so good, except for the fact that division is so bad they will probably weasel out games, and their defense is still pretty freaking good in Carolina.
I mean, Carolina could be pretty good this year based on the competition that they're playing. I mean, Baker just needs to drop back and check it up to Evans or Godwin. They're healthy now.
I don't think both are on the team next year.
Well, I think Godwin restructured his contract. Like, okay, so if Evans and Godwin are both available in a trade, Hopkins is available in a trade. Apparently, Jerry Jeudy is available in a trade. Like, these guys aren't all moving.
No, well, I'd be surprised if even one moved. Maybe one will move.
Sean Payton is preparing. They're going to run for 9 yards of freaking carry against us. Russell go 3 for 6. It'll be like playing Army. It'll be like playing.
I don't
Army.
think it's going to be that outrageous. Because
versus the Chargers, we don't stop them run.
We did see Russ like towards the end of the year, like his deep ball came back a bit. So maybe that's the move. Run, bomb.
I mean, they do have the 5th best odds to win the AFC. I mean, people
That's
do
true.
seem to see something in them.
Tied for 5th. Hayden Hurst signed with the Panthers too. So I don't know what.
Yeah, the Panthers are doing something interesting, but if they blow that pick, then it kind of doesn't matter.
It's true. And Deontay Hardy, Geoff, is the guy that you were thinking of, who signed with Buffalo.
That's exactly what the Chargers need. And I need a speed receiver so then I can draft my tight end.
It was a good move by the Bills. They resurrected the corpse of John Brown for the playoffs last year to fill that role.
No, but exactly. And the Chargers have the same need. You have this great quarterback who's got this big arm, but there's no one on the roster that the other teams needed to, play over the top on.
Well, they have Guyton coming back.
I forgot about him.
He's fast.
Guyton was good. Guyton was their second best receiver for most of the last year.
See what happens when you stop caring. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
And I guess, is there any team in free agency that surprised you so far? Because I think the Giants have done a really good job.
Yeah, the Titans letting David Long walk for 2 years and 11 million. How bad must their cap or situation be that what a great signing for Miami. Listen, I'm no like film junkie, but you talk to anyone who really likes the Titans. David Long played like his ability to impact whether that team won or lost when he was available to play was very dramatic. Very dramatic. I'm shocked they let him walk for that cheap.
See, I'm also going to say that I'm really surprised that the Jets, despite their idiocy, managed to land the biggest whale imaginable.
They were up against no one.
Not initially, and even Rodgers said as much today. There were other people in that fight.
Who?
The Raiders, for example.
The Raiders saw themselves to the door, though.
We don't know that.
Everyone else in the fight exited the room themselves.
I don't know that that's true.
No, it's true.
I think the Jets made when Woody went out there for 11 hours and everyone out there, they sold Rodgers on the Jets.
Rodgers' response to a video that came out from his charity flag football thing on the weekend to Brandon Marshall asking him about that was like, it's always interesting meeting important people in the league. Like, what a weird response. He doesn't care for Woody. He doesn't care for Woody. Trust me.
I don't think that's true.
He's the heir to Big Pharma.
Yeah, you're right about that. But like, he's also never played for an owner before. So I think there's like an interest in being in a different dynamic on a team. And like, it's the Jets. They're morons that they manage.
That is true.
To land
that
the
almost
biggest
if
team.
The Packers had an owner, it's like he has that Robert Kraft relationship with the quarterback. The things don't get, the quarterback doesn't feel nearly as alienated when there's the human paying him.
Absolutely right.
You are right, for
and
sure.
Like I said, the Jets are morons, and they managed to bring on board the biggest whale possible in free agency.
But as Geoff said, it was almost by default.
This could be like Madonna and her boyfriends, man. Like, I think it's going to work for you. I do. I'm pro you. I'm pro Jets. I'm pro the show. I'm here for all of it. I'm pro a good situation that may be able to knock the Chiefs off their mantle. All of it. I'm pro.
Gangrene on the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, so you see, just take a team like what Vegas has been doing. Like, it's all just a bunch of nothing, what Vegas has been doing. Like, they haven't improved really at all. They've been exactly the same. Whereas the Giants are playing the old school Patriots moves. Like, they're just not signing anyone. They traded for Waller, which I think is great.
Agreed.
To actually go get a real receiver for not all that much. Essentially, based on what they gave up, they traded Tony to the Chiefs. Then they traded that pick for Darren Waller. I think that's a pretty good trade for them because Tony just wasn't going to work out.
That's true, but you said here a week and a half ago that you despise their signing of Daniel Jones.
I don't like it. I think it's not a great move.
Doesn't that vitiate all their other moves? If they get that position of all positions wrong for that much money, doesn't it all like kind of not matter otherwise?
I mean, yes, it will eventually not matter, but I like what they're doing here. Like, they were almost forced into doing that. I wouldn't have budged on that, but I'm also not the GM of the Giants. I guess they've looked around. I would have preferred the Jimmy G deal instead of having Daniel Jones, honestly, to be able to get out of that. But if they think that Daniel Jones is like an upward rising star, then they got him on a really good deal. Like, there's still the upside with him. I just don't think it's there. I think we probably just saw his best season. But what they're doing now is just waiting out day one, waiting out day two, and they're just going to pick off all these guys for no money because I think although they've re-signed Jones and franchised Barkley, I do think they're somewhat realistic on what their chances actually are. Like, I think they're just playing to make the playoffs. I don't think they're playing to make a deep run here.
Okay, so you bring up a lot of good points there, and I saw a great contrast brought up just because it is Dable and Joe Shane from Buffalo. And when Buffalo did what the Giants did in McDermott's first year, where they overachieved and they made the playoffs with like Tyrod Taylor and even tried to give Nathan Peterman a start. What did they do from that? They said, no. We overachieved. And we know that. And they blew a lot of things up there, and they traded up for Josh Allen. And it seems like the Giants just overachieved. Then they overpay the quarterback. They pay a running back. I like the trade. 100th overall pick for Waller. It's a good trade. But the trade a top 100 pick for an injury-prone tight end, very different build, but obviously very different timing and situation than I guess they experienced in Buffalo.
But they're going to end up Slayton's going to walk. They're going to bring back Hodgins, who was fucking fantastic in the playoffs for them. Great connection with Daniel Jones, former Buffalo guy. That's where they found him at. Like Chark, Hardman, like those sorts of guys are going to end up on the Giants for no money, and they're fine. Like they're decent players. It's so much better than what they used to do and be like, hey, Kenny Golladay, here's $40 million a year.
No, I agree. These sign like 12 guys, have that depth off season, I think can pay huge dividends in the two splashy signings. That doesn't work. And Buffalo was good at that too. At least as they started their program hitting a new level, was off and off season where it was like depth focused, more like 9 new bodies instead of like 3 splashes.
Yeah. Teams that didn't really get any better. You talk about the Raiders, and I think the Dolphins are the teams that like just didn't do enough to make their teams better.
The Dolphins clearly got better. They got
Not
rid of
in the way
Byron
that,
Jones
like,
and replaced him with Jalen Ramsey. Like no matter what you think of Ramsey, Jones was dust.
And they got great value with that Hill at linebacker. They're better. You can even laugh at Fangio. That's an improvement for their defense. That's just money from the owner making a commitment.
And they just re-signed Deshaun Elliott from Detroit too at safety.
I mean, again, I think Aaron Rodgers is a bigger addition than anything I said about Miami. But to say they didn't get better,
I feel like they're exactly where they were before.
No, the Patriots didn't get better. The Dolphins got
worse.
better.
Patriots got worse.
The Dolphins got better. They onboarded Jalen Ramsey, man.
Again, that would have been great in 2020, in 2019. It's a little less exciting to me in 2023.
You're also not asking him to be your number 1 corner either.
Well, he's not capable of it.
Well, then now he's not put into that position. Now he's the number 2.
Great. I think he's fine, but he's just marginally better. Like he's not going to win him any games. So
this is only to help you understand how effective Ramsey can be, and I'm not putting any air in Staley's tires. Staley came from Fangio, worked with Fangio in Chicago, and followed him to Denver. Then Staley got wooed by McVay, and he uses the Fangio-esque system, and he deployed Jalen Ramsey perfect in that system. So now Fangio is going to be able to do exactly what Staley did with Jalen, and which led him to play some of the best football we've seen at that position in years.
It reminds me sort of like late stage Revis. Like that's what you're hoping for. I don't know if it's going to happen. Late stage Revis, late stage Talib when he went back to Denver or when he was with the Patriots.
Richard Sherman on the 49ers.
Was Sherman good on the 49ers? He was good on the 49ers.
Okay. For that first year, he was okay. Like when they went to the Super Bowl, he was okay.
And then he got hurt.
Yeah, and I think he'll be okay, but
even Gilmore, he was great last year for the Colts.
I like the Gilmore signing for Dallas.
I like
Dallas getting him for a
that
fifth
Gilmore
is good.
going to Dallas is a better signing than getting Ramsey.
I think that they didn't have to give up a 3rd round pick, a day 2 pick for Gilmore. They just had to spend money on him.
Gilmore's a lot old. I think they're different. Like they're different.
I'd rather spend the money than a 3rd round pick, to be honest with you.
All right. It seems like you went from being very high on Miami to be very low on Miami.
I think Miami last year had lots of potential. I think they missed their window.
What?
They were 8-3. They had everything in front of them.
And their quarterback got hurt.
And then they couldn't replace them.
When you say their window, how could you say their window's 1 year?
Sometimes the Jets are probably only going to have 1 year, maybe 2 at the most.
Well, that's because you brought in...
You have a 40-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, although given how well he takes care of himself and the medicine that he takes and the way he looks after it.
Is that the sort of clean living you're going to get into now?
People would love if I took a darkness retreat.
You need to try ayahuasca now. That's what we got to film.
I don't know what that is, and it may not be legal.
Look it up.
Aaron Rodgers takes it. Why don't you?
Aaron Rodgers did it.
Rodgers can do whatever he wants. I'm not here to judge Aaron Rodgers. I'm here to say You didn't get a very good shake from the Packers the last couple of years, but you come here, we'll treat you right.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers never really got a very good shake from you over the past few years, by the way.
True.
I backtracked long before this.
Did you?
Wishy-washy.
I mean, you
know,
doubted his ability for one thing as recently as when we listed our top 10 quarterbacks last year.
You literally in the middle of an MVP season in the last 2 years said you'd rather have Kirk Cousins. It doesn't take you're not allowed to come back from that with I was wrong. It was about Kirk Cousins in the middle of an MVP season of Rodgers.
I think it was before that season began, but
no, it was in the middle of the season.
It was the first COVID MVP.
Yeah, but it was at the start of that season.
We were on the no, it wasn't.
It was mid-season because you turned on him so hard when the COVID stuff started going down. And then you called him a diva, and his head wasn't in the game. And now he can just do and say whatever he wants, huh?
Oh, look, I'm sure there's lots of people who will push lots of propaganda in lots of ways to try to draw a wedge between Aaron Rodgers and Jets fans. But what really matters is that Aaron is going to be appreciated here. And if he wins a Super Bowl, he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He was going to be a first ballot.
The promise that was made to Derek Carr will be made good with Aaron Rodgers if that happens.
No, he's already listen. I agree. He has nothing. He has actually little to lose and so much to gain by going to New York. Like he's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's really no debating that. And if he wins in New York, like what that will do for his legacy it's almost untaught. Like there's no rival to that in sport unless you're like bringing back letting the Cubs or Red Sox win for the first time in 100 years, or whoever would bring the Leafs or something, a Stanley Cup, or the next Habs one. Like that's the only comps in sport to Rodgers bringing one to New York.
I know you said that it was imperative for Miami to sign a really good backup, and they signed Mike White, who you think is really good.
I like that signing.
But doesn't the same thing apply for the Jets? Like, would they miss their window if Rodgers gets hurt?
I would have liked them to keep Mike White. I honestly think that they don't have any money left.
But
I love this for Zach Wilson too, as someone that's a closeted
people have long said that Rodgers likes Wilson. He's not a threat. So Wilson, like Rodgers, won't be intimidated by Wilson being, there won't be any clamors from the New York press or from the guy in Section 4A screaming for Zach to get a chance if Rodgers throw a pick in week 1. So there's no intimidation factor. And apparently Rodgers likes Zach. Worst case scenario, he helps develop him a little bit. And in 2 years' time, we pick up the 5th-year option and Zach plays on that as a 1-year deal. Like, maybe that'll work. Maybe it won't. I don't know.
I think that's Joe Doug. Like, I think that's the perfect vision at this moment.
But the only way that you could reasonably salvage Zach Wilson's career in Gotham City.
And for whatever reason, you are so lucky that it is so weird, but Rodgers actually does like Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
I didn't
even
like
know
Rodgers,
but he
liked anybody or was endeared to anyone, especially of that age and a quarterback. But apparently there's some connection, some sideways connection that they've actually have a real relationship. So good for Zach.
How fast is Joe Douglas fired if this goes wrong?
No, this is when the owner wants it more. Probably or as much.
The owner's not going to quit the team.
But you are right. If this doesn't work, Sal is fired, and Joe's built a great roster there.
But you draft the offensive and defensive rookies of the year in one season. That buys you a little extra grace.
Yeah, he might be able to fire another coach. He's honestly built such a quality roster
is on the hot seat in terms of he better produce this year or after year 3 he's gone. But I don't think Douglas is on the hot seat.
I agree, especially because if Rodgers, like ownership wants this more, if not as much as Douglas.
Everybody is on board with this. Woody himself spent 11 hours in San Francisco to try to woo him. So, yeah,
he's probably disgusted that staunch right winger Woody having to go to San Francisco.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of people who are libertarians in Silicon Valley and in San Francisco area. It's not like San Francisco is anti-big business.
That's true.
I'll be in San Francisco in a month's time, so that's going to be fun.
I once visited there, and it was very lovely.
You went to the airport.
Yeah, they have these things that are French fries with parmesan and garlic on them at one of the restaurants there.
Chili
they
fries?
Are so
cheese fries?
Truffle fries?
They have Parmesan cheese and garlic on the French fries there in San Francisco. They are so good.
I went
That's
to
not
I went for
exclusive to
lunch
San
yesterday,
Francisco,
and
man.
that was on the menu at a restaurant here, Tim.
Well, I've never had them anywhere but in San Francisco.
So you think
Can I tell you?
San Francisco, quality city, you like the fries at the airport?
Yes, I did, and I was there when they were hosting the Super Bowl, and there was all kinds of NFL memorabilia at the airport, and I spent like 2 hours looking at all the memorabilia.
I feel like you walking around San Francisco would scare you.
Oh, I don't know. I've always wanted to go to Nob Hill and walk down, to go see Alcatraz and get on one of those trolleys. And what's the name of that street? I know the name of that street. The one that's the Zigzag Street.
That's what it's called, the Zigzag Street.
No, it's got a name, and I know the name of it. Anyway,
I want to go visit the Full House.
I would like to walk by that. I'd like to go by the place where they invented rice-a-roni. I'd like to go, I'd like to check that whole place out. That I'm sure there's supposed to be fantastic food in San Francisco. People say that Pac Bell Park is the nicest ballpark in Major League Baseball. I'd love to see that. Anyway, there's lots of things in San Francisco that I would really enjoy. It's a place I'd love to visit.
Pat, you're mentioning you're going out there, and that time post Masters, I think my wife and I are going to go to New Orleans for our 10-year wedding anniversary.
Nice.
But I can tell you, I had some like Cajun food or ordered it last night.
Now, hold on, before you
And I didn't sleep. I don't know if I can go there anymore. I had the worst heartburn of my life.
Now, when you say you
last
had
night.
Cajun food, are you like our friend who thought that Cajun was Canadian Asian? So did you order Canadian Asian food?
No. It was,
He'll never live that down.
No, and gets very upset when you subtly work it into a conversation in some way.
It's awesome because it happened like 15 years ago now.
Are you going to be more beignet than man when you come back, Geoff?
I'm not sure what that means.
Those are those powdered donuts that New Orleans is so famous
Oh
for.
yeah, no, it's not called Bengay.
No, it's a beignet.
Yeah, beignet. Yeah, for sure. My wife, we had to eat those in Disneyland and some like New Orleans little jaunt there.
Yeah, I don't think New Orleans is a city I'm sure it's very pretty and there's lots of cool stuff there, but that's not really a city on my list of places to visit for whatever reason.
Well, you hate to party. That's why.
I don't like to Lombard. That's the name of that street. Lombard Street. Yeah, I don't like to party. So like New Orleans really isn't for me. I like southern warm places. Like I really liked Miami. I visited Miami Beach once. It was quite nice. I recommend it. I'd rather go back there before New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean,
You'd rather go to Boca.
Everyone knows that Tim's big into the amphetamine strip club and club scene. That's why he loves Miami.
No, they have really great breakfasts in the morning at all the little out street on the street side cafes.
True, he's not wrong.
Like that's what I like the
I'm not
most
gonna lie
about
to you.
Miami.
Most cities have that, right?
No, most cities do not have the number and quantity and setting. Miami was quite nice. I liked Miami. I liked, I liked Myrtle Beach when I was in the South. That was nice to visit.
You went with me. We played golf.
That was nice. I enjoyed that.
No matter where you came. Again, no matter where we could have went to Tulsa, played 5 rounds of golf. You're like, Tulsa's great. We played golf the whole time.
Yeah, I liked Minneapolis. I liked St. Paul.
You were in a
We were
convention
in
center.
St. Paul for 3 hours.
It was nice. They
We
had
were
great
in the
chicken
fucking
fingers.
hockey arena.
They had great chicken fingers.
Oy vey.
I liked Boston when I visited Boston that time.
Easiest person to please in the world, honestly.
There was this Chinese food place by the hotel in Boston, which was fantastic.
It's like run-of-the-mill Chinese food. It was good.
I thought it was really good.
Again, you don't seem to dislike anything. Everything's
I
an
don't-
A+ to you,
No, that's not true.
except for the chicken Big Mac, which you only
Yeah,
rated
chicken
6
Big
out
Mac
of
wasn't.
10.
Well, I would
Everything's
love
an
to see
A+.
that like a fish Big Mac instead of the chicken Big Mac. Give me the filet of fish times 2 on a Big Mac bun. Let's try that. That might actually be better.
Did you know that Tim broke his Lent promise to Jesus, Geoff, by going on Jet's Reddit?
What does that mean?
Well,
I wasn't going to go on the boards all Lent. I was going to give the boards up for Lent, but I just couldn't. I gave myself the special dispensation because I needed to, until this plane landed. I just needed to see what other fans were saying and thinking and feeling. They were fired up for Alan Lazard, as am I. And people were very anxious about this new. And now that we essentially have what is a confirmation of a deal, I don't have to worry about it anymore. Now I can just relax.
So I have the most important question. What is, say, like Bills and Dolphins Reddit saying about your
They're
acquisition?
so defensive.
Give us an example, please.
Well, I haven't got one off the top of my. I'd have to go look one up. I haven't got it off the top of my
Well,
head.
give us paraphrase for us.
Yeah, like give us the general attitude on Bills and Dolphins Reddit.
No, I mean I really and actually yesterday Reddit was down for quite a while, so I wasn't able to like get behind enemy lines last evening when I was just hanging out. Let me see what Miami Dolphins is saying. It's probably all obsessive stuff about their terrible team.
I'm on Bill's Reddit right now, and the top stories that have been posted are Poyer expected to re-sign.
Oh, great. So the first one I see here on Dolphins Reddit is them posting that photo from week 17 in 2008, where the Dolphins beat the Jets to get to the playoffs. That was Brett Favre with his hands on his head. And it just says the sequel is upcoming.
That's funny.
Nice to know that, another person who has the Jets, Colin Cowherd, said the Jets have a very favorable schedule and said the Jets have an arguable top 5 roster. And they just called him a clown. Like, the Dolphins fans are obsessed with the Jets. All these tweets are about the Jets. Oh, the Dolphins will still have a better QB than the Jets, according to the Hard Rock Sportsbook. The Dolphins account, Twitter or the Reddit board is obsessed with the Jets. Obsessed. Go ahead, be obsessed.
I'm looking at it. I do see that Favre photo. I see a mock draft. I see people being pumped that Myles Gaskin is back on a 1-year deal. And they're calling Colin Cowherd a clown because they have the Dolphins missing the playoffs. They also have the Jets missing the playoffs. Colin Cowherd does, by the way.
Yeah, but they're not upset about that. He says the Jets have a top
shocker on
5.
Dolphins Reddit that they're not upset about the Jets missing the playoffs.
They bring it up, and they're still like, it's an obsession.
But the one that you're pointing to has nothing to do with the Jets.
Yes, it does.
What does it have to do with the Jets?
Directly mentions the Jets in the title.
It says, "What a clown! Arguably a top 5 roster in the NFL missing the playoffs." They're talking about the Dolphins, Tim, not the Jets.
I think you're talking about the Jets.
Why would a Miami fan call someone a clown for the Jets missing?
I
the
don't
playoffs?
know. I don't know.
This is why you're a main character.
More stuff
Dude.
here. Anyway, go ahead, be obsessed. All you did was bring in a once upon a time great cornerback who's at the end of his career for a 3rd round pick, and a quarterback who's better than your starter, backing you up. And go ahead and enjoy, once again, watching the few bits of talent that you have not thrive because you don't have a very good head coach and you don't have a very good team.
I think we might need to bet on the Dolphins this year, Geoff.
Maybe.
Just he's cursing Tua into being very healthy.
I hope for his sake he is, by the way.
Well, now not anymore. Now you're trying
football
to get
is. I said this last
he
year.
had mush for brains. Listen to you.
I said this last year that football was a lot less fun.
And what happened to poor Tua? You killed him.
No. As soon as Tua wasn't in games, I said football was a lot less fun without him. I missed him. I mean, I don't like I don't like the Dolphins. I think people overrate Tua constantly, but the NFL was fun. But again, that's they didn't have Aaron Rodgers as a story yet. Now you've got the 2nd best quarterback in football coming into your division and just taking over and just saying, "This is my division now for a year. This is mine. I own this." And let's see how the great Jalen Ramsey, who I believe went up against Rodgers in the playoffs and got ripped apart in the Rams-Packers playoff game. Let's see how great Jalen Ramsey does against him.
Geoff, 2nd best quarterback in football, Aaron Rodgers. Yay or nay?
No, but I like Aaron Rodgers a lot. But no, short answer, no.
Top 5.
I mean, who else has won 2 MVPs in the last 3 years? I'll wait.
Nope.
If you can give me another quarterback, I'll listen.
So you would think. So why is he behind Mahomes?
Mahomes has just won the MVP, just won the Super Bowl, and has won 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 years.
Okay, well, how many Super Bowls?
Mahomes
did
deserves
Rodgers
the title.
win?
He's won a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP and 4 NFL MVPs. There's no active player in the league with more MVPs than him.
Well, he won the Super Bowl 13 years ago.
Okay, but he just won 2 straight MVPs.
He didn't just win 2 straight MVPs.
2 of the
Patrick
last 3
Mahomes
years.
Just won the MVP.
But 2 of the last 3 years, he won the MVP. He's again. I know that you don't think he's good, and this is a bad signing. And the Jets are going to be bad.
I don't recall ever saying any of those things, but it sounds like, again, as a main character, you're
You're
just hearing
rooting
what you
against the
wanna
Jets,
hear.
and that's fine. You want to root against their success, you go ahead.
Oh no, I'm rooting for their success. This is going to be amazing.
Imagine a perfect season going into the Super Bowl.
Perfect season.
Like, it's on the table. That's the thing. I'm not predicting it, but I don't know where my mind will go right now.
Well, it just went to a perfect season.
It's on the
And
table.
what happened to your boy Lamar, who was very clearly the second best quarterback in football
I
until
love
Rodgers
Lamar.
went to the Jets?
I love Lamar. I think wherever Lamar goes, he's going to do fantastically. I think teams like the Raiders and the Falcons and the Lions are nuts not to be making negotiations.
If you end up
with
giving a first for Rodgers,
I'll
that would
be
be pretty
shocked.
stupid, right? Because then you could just given up 2 ones for Lamar.
a first for a
Yeah,
one-year
but
quarterback
why
or
would you
two,
want Lamar? You have the second best quarterback in football now.
but for this year.
Where would Rodgers be ranked if he wasn't on the Jets?
That has no bearing on
Really?
my.
That has no
No,
bearing.
it doesn't.
Why don't we go and listen to our quarterback ranking show with Aaron Rodgers coming off an MVP from this time last year to see where you have him ranked?
Well, you don't have that tape lined up.
I do.
Oh.
It's
Well, whatever I said, I no longer hold to that opinion.
oh, okay. But now that
I've
he's
changed
not
my
coming
mind.
off an MVP, he's better, is what you're saying.
It's my
You're like
prerogative.
Lindsey Graham.
Look, you can live in the past and dwell on what I said when I already say that I don't agree with what I said in the past, or we can look forward to what actually will work. Jets team is really good. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the MVP. This team is going to lose very few games. This team is going to the Super Bowl. And as God is my witness, I need to be in Las Vegas for that Super Bowl.
Well, folks,
I need to be there.
that was Tim Undercust.
Tim Andergust.
That is not my name. And I can't wait for the schedule to come out. I can't wait to see where we're playing and when.
Is it before or after the draft?
Some years it's before, some years it's after. It honestly varies. There's no set in stone. It can be anywhere from mid-April to mid-May. They've switched it around over the years.
I hope it's not at the end of April or mid-April because I'm gone away, and so was Jay.
And another year, the reason I'm so excited about this is that this is our year to have the extra home game in AFC. So we get 9 home games, and we're playing at the Giants. So really, we have 10 home games this year. And so, like, this is the perfect season to strike while the iron is hot. And just like there's you have Garrett Wilson, who is going to, one hopes, become Devontae Adams 2.0. At least he has that opportunity with a genuine quarter. Look what he did without quarterback play last year. You have Breece Hall, who, yes, he was injured, but if he comes back, he can be Terrell Davis again. And you have, Aaron Rodgers, who's won 4 MVPs, 2 in the last 3 years, who's playing excellently. Alan Lazard, who played great last year out there as a receiver. A top line defense, good pass rushers, the best cornerback in football. I mean, imagine having the best cornerback, one of the best receivers, second best quarterback, and not being a heavy favorite to win it all.
He's there's 7 people ahead of him to win MVP. 6 people.
Sure. And I'm sure I wouldn't argue with any of those people. I'm sure they're all excellent players.
Well, you think Josh Allen sucks?
I don't think he sucks. I think he regressed last year, and I think he's likelier going to go back to more of what he was this year than in the 1 year where he played amazingly.
He's played pretty amazing for like 3 years, and he had
Last year wasn't amazing.
Well, it was amazing until he got hurt and tore his UCL.
He's going to get, against the Jets, he's going to get hurt because he has to run too much, and he's not accurate. He's more accurate than he was when he came out of college, but he's not that accurate. He's good. The Bills the Bills are better with him than without him, but we got Rodgers now. Like, good luck. Bombs away.
All right, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. NFL
19-0.
What?
No more to go.
Oh.
19-0. No more to go. Whoa. Take flight, Jeffrey. Take flight. I'm going to
Plane's
wear
gonna
that.
crash.
I'm going to wear that victory hat out.
No, you wouldn't. That will clinch your most insane, by the way, if you wear that in public.
No, but I'm going to wear it out from wearing it every single night on the show.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Sorry, no, I don't mean wear it out in public. every single week. I don't mean out in public, so I mean I'm going to like wear it out.
Well, that was the show. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. How close did you come to predicting a 17-0 schedule?
Very. I'm very concerned when the schedule comes out. I may do that because I was looking at all their opponents and I just don't see a loss.
Yeah, there's not a game they're more than like a pick 'em, right?
This is
Or
it,
like
right? There's no game where like they'd be more than a 3-point underdog because they're in Buffalo or against the Chiefs. Like you just look at that schedule and you go win, win, win.
I don't know.
Win,
If it was week
win,
one,
win.
Buffalo at the Jets, I'm pretty sure Buffalo would be favored.
Nah, I think it'd probably be Jets by 1.
What do you
Jets by
think,
1. Rodgers not going to be a dog at home in his first game, I don't think.
Yeah, he would be. Versus Buffalo, he would be.
I don't know.
think so.
Even if so, it would be a very short. It would be a short number.
Yeah, maybe you're.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Very
expect them to be 7-point favorites, but they'd be like 2-point favorites. Buffalo was favored in Kansas City last year.
Yeah. Oh, they crushed Kansas City. That was the right call. That Bills team was better than this Bills team is, which hasn't gotten any better.
Well, they'll get Von Miller back. They'll have a healthy Josh Allen. That will help.
Von Miller was great in 2015.
Von Miller was great last year before he got hurt.
He's just and now he's hurting a year older. Like, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to pretend like all these AFC teams are so great, but like
Well,
I look
I
at
don't
them
understand how everyone can be written off as they're a year older, so they're no longer any good. But Aaron Rodgers is better than he's ever
yeah,
been.
but he's changing teams is like taking a couple of years off his life, getting out of that toxic environment in Green Bay and getting to spread his wings in New York. And like I look at all these teams in the AFC and they just have flaws we don't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, 17-0. Here you come.
I think I'm not predicting it, at least not yet.
Well,
But
you predicted what was your official prediction? 15-2?
I haven't made an official prediction. I won't make one until I see the schedule.
It's really sad because you want to say 17-0. Just say 17-0.
I mean,
Put yourself
look.
out
We'll
there.
see. No, we'll see what the schedule is. I don't want to sound like a crazy
What
person.
what would stop you from picking 17-0?
We could be put in a bad like that Bills game could be at Buffalo on a Thursday night after us playing at Sunday at 5. Yeah, where the Bills like played on had a week off or something. Like you just never know, right? Last year the league did us no favors with extra time off. We had to play teams on 2 separate occasions, so 4 teams overall coming off mini buys, not including the time we had to play the Packers when they got extra time off from their London game. We had to play at 5:00. Like anyway, so I'm hoping because the Jets are such a great story that Park Avenue will want to rig things sort of in our favor, and that I'll be very happy about that. But we'll see. I mean, I have long said I don't like making over-under picks till I see schedule in front of me.
Experience! Experience!